Okay. Episode 52, B3 GamingCast. I see people are joining the chat right now. This is Janzer, your host as usual. And today, we've got returning Mr. Philemon Grundy to the cast.
Yep, that's me, that guy. The other one.
The other one, okay. You're the first one, man. The other one. And the other one, Grammaton Dryad, is joining the cast.
I'm the other one that also sounded kind of like Phil and Janzer.
I don't know what the other white meat is.
Yeah. You sound like me?
I don't know. Well, you introduced me, and then you were saying stuff, so now people are going to think that I'm you, which I can't complain about. Got that Phil voice.
All right. Off to an awkward start. Perfect.
Yeah, I don't feel like talking anymore.
Speaking of awkward...
Is this like prom?
Yeah, it can be. Depends. I don't know. Do you want to awkwardly have sex afterwards, or just depending on you, man?
Isn't that what prom is?
I think so.
Well, it all depends. I mean, if it's a Back to the Future kind of thing, then your mom can be involved. That's
wow.
Gonna be way,
okay.
way
yeah,
awkward.
no, I spent my prom night at pool hall. I didn't go to prom. I went to a pool hall.
Wait, you
I
didn't
watched
go
a
to the prom at
70s
all?
horror film and played GameCube, so I also didn't go to prom.
Yeah.
So y'all guys didn't go to your prom at all?
I went to a pool hall.
Well, on the flip side, we don't have proms here, so
yeah,
I'm with you. I didn't go to a prom either. Yeah.
Suck it, prom.
We're all awkward individuals.
Great. I suppose I just felt like an actual individual rather than someone that wanted to do something that didn't really... Look, I don't dance, okay? All right? It just isn't going to happen. It's never going to fucking happen.
Wait, you can't dance?
That too.
Learning so much tonight.
What's that? Oh, you're learning so much. Yeah,
tonight.
no, I've said this before. I don't understand how it is that I can play like musical instruments, but I have zero coordination. Yet I was able to play basketball too and dribble well. So I don't know.
That's different. I find playing the instrument is different though. Because
sure. You have to have beat. You got to have rhythm, you know? Yeah. But it doesn't translate to moving the body.
Yeah, it's a little bit different than dancing though. Because like, if you actually like trying to learn the drums and actually having a drum that actually can play to the timing of a metronome without needing one is a whole different ball game than actually just going to a beat.
Well, I know because I'm the victim of it. I can't. That connection for the brain to the body for rhythm making doesn't exist. I whatever. So the awkward. No rhythm. Just like The Jerk, old movie. Yeah. So since it seems so awkward, let's talk about awkward, weird accounts in our chat. I was wondering the other day. I was looking at my chat and I was like, man, this person is always at my streams. Like even when I'm streaming for like, I start at like 3 a.m. and I go till like 9 a.m. I did that a couple of times, with 7 Days to Die. This Faegwent account, I was like, they never say anything, but they got a lot of followers. I don't know who this is, but that's kind of cool. I got my hopes up a little bit. I was like, that's really neat. Oh, they could throw a host. That would be even cooler, But that's okay, whatever. So
ground burst your bubble.
No. So I asked in chat in the B3 community, and I was like, anybody know who this person is? And then we kind of just all went from there and started Googling, and yeah. It turns out that we don't really have a definitive answer. It's probably a chat logging bot, which I found out about. That there are like 3 other chat logging bots out there. I think one of them starts with, 2 of them might start with a V, and one starts with a W possibly. But it's easy to look up if you just Google, this info. And what they do is they log your chat. In fact, the other 3 bots belong to some kind of like little company that apparently is trying to make I think they eventually want to sell metrics, is what it is, to streamers to kind of give them an idea of how happy their chat is, Mm-hmm. So they're trying to they identify terms and phrases and all that. It's really interesting. And it's all scary as hell. Not for privacy reasons, but more for the fact that it's like, this is how the robots learn, and this is how they're going to kill us later because they know everything about how we feel and what we say.
I don't know. If it's anything like Transformers, I think the robots are screwed.
I don't know what you mean.
Did you watch the first Transformers with
Yeah.
Jazz?
Yeah.
The one that watched way too much BET? Because that's how they kind of acclimated themselves to the humans.
Oh.
They studied different things, so Jazz watched a lot of TV. So he was all hip hoppy, cool, Jazz, woo, whoa, and posing off and stuff. And I was like, "Wow,
how are they screwed then?"
Well, if they come in your chat, then they screwed because I type a lot of shit in there.
Yeah.
They would. If Graham is just in there typing penis.
Oh, you're saying as like trying to identify speech patterns within human. I was like, they're screwed, like they're dead. I mean, like they're gonna kill us.
They're not gonna know how to communicate properly.
Yeah. So they're gonna be human.
According to your metrics, your viewers like the
you're
dick.
right.
Yeah, they'll be just like humans. They won't be able to properly communicate.
Sounds good.
They'll
I heard
consistently
about
be full of nonsense, like most comments on the internet.
There you
saying
go.
that there was actually a robot that was connected to the internet and was reading stuff that people post and stuff, and apparently it started to get very racist. It was trying to develop AI.
Yep.
Yeah,
I remember that.
And it got racist.
Yep. Yeah. Well, that was because certain places on the internet decided they wanted to bend the bot to their will, and they did by spamming it. So that's not necessarily a good case scenario at all. That's just assholes being assholes, So, yeah. But that one company that I was reading, I can't remember who they are, whatever. I read it on Reddit,
I just remember it having a .gg.
.gg, yeah. They basically, everybody responding to them was like paranoid as hell. Well, I don't want my stuff being logged. What about my chat users? I was like, you idiots! It's all public. If you're worried.
GG.
Yeah, if you're worried about privacy, you probably shouldn't be, streaming yourself with the camera, talking whatever you're talking. Mm-hmm. It's all public,
Yeah. Actually, no, it doesn't even have to be in your chat. They could just pull that stuff from VODs because Twitch stores all the chat log stuff. When you watch back over a stream, I was watching over Eddie's stream of MLB, the show.
Yeah.
And I saw all the stuff that Volts was typing in there during that. And then when Funk came in. Yeah, so.
Yep.
It's public.
Yeah. No, absolutely. It's just with the bot in the channel, it's a lot easier, clearly, to just capture that stuff versus I don't know, having to have some kind of a visual, a bot that reads that, I think that's what it might have to be.
Plus, people could choose not to have VODs recorded and all that kind of stuff. So it's easier to just be in there while it's happening and just get it at that moment.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean, what do you guys think? Is that something that people should be worried about privacy-wise or whatever? I think most of the things there were, the responses were just getting worse and worse. They're like, well, it's just really weird that you would do that. And it's like, well, we can. It doesn't break any Twitch rules or anything like that. We're not view botting you, meaning we're not bringing a bunch of views that 100 views or whatever that you're not supposed to have. We're not using the bot to communicate or anything. It's just sitting there and login chat, which anybody could do regardless. But they're like,
respond.
What's that?
Sorry. No, I would say I got one response to that.
Yeah.
This is all happening on the internet, right?
Yeah.
All right, well, then you can't really you can't want your privacy there. Just saying, as long as you put it on the internet, it's free game for everybody. Even if it's under a secure thing, somebody could hack it. So
yeah.
You can't be paranoid and afraid. Oh, what if somebody takes this information and guys you put it out there? That's like taking everything that you do and just putting it out on your lawn for everybody that passes by to see. And they say, oh, this is private. Don't look at this.
Yeah, well, the responses had more to do with feeling than any kind of logic. They were like, well, I don't know my view. They were trying to rationalize a reason why these people were bad is what it was coming down to the more I read about it.
Right, yeah.
That's a natural human reaction. As long as we don't understand or we don't know what it is, the first thing we have is fear.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
What I mean? Something shakes in the bushes. You know what I mean? That's a natural reaction. That might be a tiger. That might be, fight or flight. That's our modes that we go into. But
I think that's okay, except for the fact that maybe I didn't explain this properly, but that company was talking about what they did. And the responses to that were like, whoa, but they had already given the information. So it's not like they didn't know. You know what I mean? It wasn't like they were like, hey, we're going to put some bots in your channel. And that was the end of that.
It made me think, because I think a lot of people stray somewhere between like making this bot and the reason for this bot being there. I think of it somewhere between someone who would be like people watching at a park to like a stalker. And a lot of people immediately swing towards the stalker side, the extreme, like, why are they stalking me? What are they going to do to me? What are they going to do with this information? What are they going to do? And they freak the fuck out. But for me, I'm like, it's a lot more people watching. It's like the same as if some kid was in like a sociology course and had to do some social experiment. What the fuck are they doing? It's really weird. I wonder why they're doing that. It's not really, I don't think it's going to affect me too much. I kind of don't care.
Right.
So I more swing that it's definitely more like a people watching type of thing. I'm like, it's there, it's doing stuff. I can see how people could be a little bit like put off or concerned about that, but I don't really think it's doing anything that's that big of a deal. So I'm kind of like, whatever.
I think of myself as a I think one of the faults that I feel that I have is that I'm very much a control freak. I'm not bothered by this thing. You know, a control freak is one that would be like, I don't want it here. I need it gone now. You know, they can't, if they can't get their way, they freak the fuck out. You know, they want to be able to clearly control every aspect of whatever's going on. So to me, this just kind of like, if anything, it's interesting to see the responses to how, you know, what levels people take things. Granted, it is also the internet, so, you know, that level is always going to be like 10 times greater, apparently. That's how it has to be in order to get heard, which is understandable. I do it with the podcast titles as well sometimes, you know. Like last week was Game Racism is Our Wheelhouse. But, you know, it's all testing. It's all testing in a way, too. For me, I'm always about, like, if you're not testing, you're not living, which is not true, but that's just a stupid phrase, you know, that has some truth to it for me, for myself, you know. I love testing. I love seeing results. But,
I don't know. I don't see any of these people complaining about using a membership card or a discount card at a place. You know, they take all that information and store it.
Or Google.
They say, oh, this is what sells. This is what, but yeah. Because I don't see you complaining about that.
It's all about awareness.
Yeah.
That shit is so far removed from them that they don't even know, so they don't
Reddit.
care. But if somebody like brought up and mentioned it to them, they'd be like, "Oh shit, that's terrible." And then, depending on their level of actual care, they either would do something about it or they would do nothing about it.
I mean, Reddit in and of itself is something to track that person's account or whatever, like what they've done, what they, you know, all of that stuff too. I think the only way to get away from that is if you're using multiple boxes and let's say what do they refer to it as? Like a Tor browser inside of a virtual box, you know, that kind of thing where it's everything's you could never track it back. Well, you probably could, but by the time you did, it's, you know, unimportant because that's already changed. So, but yeah, like the work needed
live
for
in a
it.
cave.
What's that?
No, I thought you were saying the only way to avoid it is to just live in a cave.
No. Technically, you could probably put a lot of distance between yourself and the time that it takes for someone to track you down. You know, if they really want to, of course, you know, and they will. They could. Anybody could. It just takes time and effort, you know. But yeah,
I think you just got to press a million keys on your keyboard. Don't use a mouse. You can hack any shit, man. That's how it's done on TV.
I just pictured Phil just literal face rolling left and right across his keyboard and be like, I gotcha, bitch.
I get it. Gotcha, bitch. Yeah. Awesome.
That's my password. That's how I put them in. Just roll my face across the keyboard.
Now, what was that for next time? Just have Google save the password and you'll never have to worry about it. Great.
There you go.
Until Google gets hacked, which is going to, you know, which has happened multiple times anyways. But yeah. Kind of want to keep going with the Twitch stuff. So yeah, Faegwent is our biggest fan and I'm happy about it. I haven't had them on this channel yet, but please drop all your bots here and we'll show them some robotic love.
Yeah, please. Bring those 37 hours from my place over here.
All right. I've only got 30. I feel gypped here. Come on.
I didn't even, I don't know.
So there's
you were doing the YouTube thing though. May have started a little bit earlier for me.
I don't know. No, because I don't know. Maybe. Maybe because I've had my account for since like 20 something, 2000 something or other.
Yeah, I don't know when the bot started to do their bots things. Yeah.
Is it only because y'all have bots in y'all Twitch that y'all can tell how long people have been in there, or is that a feature in Twitch that allows you to know how long people?
Through my bot, that's how I know.
Oh, okay.
It's an API option where you can make a call to Twitch's servers and ask for information. The bot just does that for you, but you can write code to any bot. You can write your own bot. You can write code to to Twitch as long as whatever information they allow, which is that's part of the API. But
okay, but it's all stored in Twitch, basically.
Yeah. Twitch allows that stuff to be accessed. So, which is how we can tell how long somebody's been, following a channel with a certain
following.
With the stalking too. I mean, you say that, but there's been plenty of people that stream that could come up with their own. Like I've had people way in the past where they literally stalking for the sake of trolling or for the sake of like they just can't. I know. I was talking the other day about how there's one account in a channel that I watch. Not going to say any of the names here. Where this one account just can't seem to like let go of the fact that they're not wanted, in the community because they're so, you think I'm bad? You think I'm abrasive and weird and all that? No, this guy's like to another 10, 20 levels or something like that, So, but they're constantly in that channel, they're constantly there, always hanging out. And they make multiple accounts to get around being blocked and stuff like that. It's happened to multiple people. It's happened to me, It's happened to me twice, 2 different people. So yeah, it's weird. And you would think, why would people want to fucking stalk me? Anybody that's seen me, it's like the only reason why you want to stalk me is if you want to kill me or something. You don't want anything from me. I'm not gonna give you anything, other than a boot. But that's about it.
Maybe you have nice skin.
Do I have nice skin? That's true. I do actually have pretty nice skin.
Put some lotion on the skin.
Yeah, at my age, I still look like I'm a lot younger, so that's true. Yeah, genetics. Yeah. They will probably want my hair, but I'm going to cut that and give it away anyway, so. All right. But, weird conversations. I love it.
What you should do is cut it and sell it. Then you could donate a chunk of that to charity.
No, I'm just going to give it directly to a place that does that. Like they handle making wigs for kids. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Okay.
I've done it before.
Is it Locks of Love or is it a different one?
It is Locks of Love, but there also is a place called Wigs for Kids. In fact, not even kidding.
Oh, okay.
And then, of course, I think there's one of I think it's either Pantene or one of those like shampoo manufacturer companies. They also do that too, where they require less length of hair. So I kind of was joking the other day to myself, and I was like, I should put out on Twitter, I have what a lot of ladies want, 12 inches of hair. And it's true on both accounts. Wait. I've had women say, wow, you have amazing hair. I was like, I thank you, because I'm going to be donating it. And next thing you know, I got a number. So, yeah. Works out for a multitude of reasons here. No, I sound like a scumbag, but it's true because I am. All right, so let's move on to Twitch affiliate program stuff, if y'all don't mind. I'd like to bury all of what I just said there.
I just want to go back into that again.
Sure.
So when are you actually going to cut your hair?
I'm thinking actually this Saturday. I want to, because it had to be minimum 10 inches of hair that you can donate, because they end up cutting out parts of it on either side, so they can have a consistent length of hair that they can actually work with. So it comes down to 8 or something like that, or something, whatever. So with 12, what I can do is I'm probably going to have... This is all boring, dude. I don't think anybody cares. But yeah, it's going to be very soon. Saturday. Hopefully Saturday. If not, see, I need to take... whatever. Moving on.
Twitch. Are you going to tweet some before and after photos?
I was saying, you should stream it, man.
No. Although my mom was like trying to take pictures. I was like, Mom, calm down. Just, I'm not that kind of a person, I don't really... And it's weird, right? Because I have a fucking YouTube channel. I have a Twitch channel. I've got a podcast. I don't like it. Shut up, Jans. Shut the fuck up. You don't like attention. Shut up, you cunt.
You like attention. Damn it.
No. But I do like using that attention and directing at things. Anyways, so Twitch affiliate program. right? So this came. I don't know. Did you guys read about this?
I did just a little bit.
Yeah, I heard about it.
Just the tip.
411.
All right.
I got a little bit more than you tip, but yeah, I can still handle it.
Yeah, I've got like all of the notes for the Twitch. I know y'all are making. I know. I'm just gonna do my normal thing, So it's interesting that Twitch is doing this. I think it's a very appropriate time frame because YouTube's getting all kinds of negative press. So This is a great move by Twitch, throwing this out there saying, hey, look what we're doing for all our non-partnered channels. And to explain to everybody, Graham, do you want to do it? Because I'm talking a lot.
Yeah, sure. Basically, the affiliate program is oriented for the non-partnered, which would be the majority of streamers on Twitch. It's interesting. I don't know the percentage of what streamers are partnered. It's one of those things that there's a lot that you have no idea who, like, you can find probably a brand new partnered streamer every day, it seems like. But at the same time, the ratio is probably really low compared to everybody else. So this focuses on a non-partnered streamer category of streamers. So pretty much everybody. What it is it's seeking to monetize their streams. It has a lot of limitations, but they really emphasize the fact that it's in development and it's going to be a process, and they're going to add to it. And it will probably have a lot more limitations than obvious partnership, but the requirements are a lot less, and it's a lot less grueling to attain. So it's pretty cool. They went into a nice little description of its purpose and why they have it and what they offer. And they even have, at least on their main site, like a little chart that shows you this is what it looks like for non-affiliates, affiliates, and partners, and what the options they have. And they answered in an FAQ all the requirements and everything. So but that's the gist.
Okay, I was using that time to try to, get some balancing of sound going on, but it's all over the place anyways. Okay, there's the points were initially people could cheer with bits. So as far as like percentages and all that, I don't think that's going to be a thing they get initially, Like I don't know what partnered streamers get. What's like 10%?
I don't know exactly for the bits.
They get 50 of the subscription
sub.
Right.
Correct, yeah. Of the $5 sub, they get 50%. I don't know bits because I've never seen the real reason to do it, because I personally would never contribute to somebody that I view through bits, but that's just me. So I don't know the exact numbers. I don't know if either of you do.
Bits, I can't remember. They did talk about that a long time ago, and I did read it.
I only know the affiliate percentage because I read it, but I have no idea for partners.
Yeah. I didn't get anything about like like on their official thing. I didn't see anything about the affiliate percentage per sub. I just see no application process. They're going to pick people. They're going to let them know by email. The invitations are going to roll out gradually over several weeks. At launch, non-partnered streamers who have 500 total minutes broadcast in the last 30 days, 7 unique broadcasts in the last 30 days, average of 3 concurrent viewers, Faegwent's my favorite, over the last 30 days, and at least 50 followers. So that's actually pretty broad.
Yeah, it's and like you said, they're going to send out invites. So it's not something that you like fill out a form and say, hey, pick me. They are going to decide who gets an invite, and they're going to start doing it gradually. But the criteria was in the last 30 days, so a month period, you have to stream for a total of 8.5 hours, and you have to do it across 7 unique broadcast days, which is pretty short streams for most people's circumstances. But it's pretty nice. It's pretty much an hour a stream, except one of those streams is 2.5, or you just do a bunch of 1.5 hours.
And then average. So you broke down the 500 minutes is what you're saying.
Yeah, into 8.5 hours. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
That was the first thing.
For an hour and a half isn't long. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you stream for an hour and a half, you're going to surpass that 500 minute total across 7 different ones. And if you have like 28 days, so that's like 4 weeks, you could easily do like 2 streams for that, and you would hit over your 7. So if you do 2 times a week for like an hour to hour and a half, but definitely an hour and a half, you will pass that. So it's really not that grueling of a demand.
No.
But you have to have an average of 3 concurrent viewers. So that's the average. So you could have less if some of yours have more, which isn't a lot either. And then 50 followers pretty much means that you didn't just start your thing, most likely. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah. What I also find is interesting as well too is that YouTube's ad revenue obviously is going down for a lot of their, like everybody in general, but is mainly a lot of the bigger YouTube channels. And a lot of people that do YouTube, well, a lot of the bigger YouTubers actually streaming these days. And I think they're doing it to like kind of counter like the money that they might not be making, the revenue that they would normally be getting.
Streaming on Twitch?
So, yeah.
Okay. Just clarifying, because when you say
them.
streaming, I'm like, on YouTube? But that makes sense because that's less work for them. That's why I did it.
Oh, no. They're streaming on Twitch, not on YouTube.
Streaming on Twitch. Right. That's clarifying.
Yeah. So it's interesting that, that a lot of people kind of gravitating towards Twitch, and Twitch is trying to do a lot more things for smaller broadcasters or people that know as well, or people that have been doing it for a long time but just enjoy doing it, but they will probably not get partnered anytime soon. And then also you have like Microsoft buying up like Beam, and they're trying to do their thing as well too. So it's like Twitch is kind of like staying like 2 steps ahead of everybody, at all times. So I think it's interesting what they're doing, and I think it will give some momentum for people that just casually stream, or some people that want to get into streaming but don't have the following. It gives you a little bit more incentive, saying, hey, like, I can still make a little something off of this, and maybe I could build on it. And then also for the bigger streamers as well too. I don't know if you knew about that too, but you can also know, let's say you were a partner streamer, Janza, I could go in and give you was it? I say it's like $5 to sub, right? You can give $15 for 1 month now.
Yeah, I didn't bring up any of that because I wanted to talk about like the new people. Not that we don't talk about it now. I was like, this is interesting. The affiliate stuff. Yeah. I saw that too. But, like they have greater tiers, I guess, up to $25.
Yeah. So I just think it's interesting that they're kind of just doing a lot of different things all across the board. But I always found it was very lackluster for people that aren't partnered. Like, you don't get bit rates, the different, like I could stream I could set my quality settings and all. You don't get that as a non-partnered thing. So
yeah. And
I don't think that's really going to change, because that's pretty taxing our service to do all those different levels of compression and
put it out. The term that they use are transcodes, and they did note that with being an affiliate, even though you don't have full access to it, you will get priority access over other streamers. So that is kind of neat.
Yeah, it's great for them and shitty for people that don't get in it then, because now you're even lower down on the poll. Right, yeah. Before it was just them versus us. Now there's a middle class.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I think their middle class is just a matter if you want to be there or not.
It's if they pick you or not. Yeah.
No, but then they have something in there saying that you could apply as well.
No, you can't.
They said there's no applying process.
Yep, that's correct.
Yeah, they said you don't have it. They are just going to see who meets the criteria and send you out an invite, and then you have to be like, I want this.
Yeah, let me read this real quick. The initial wave of invitation around launch will be staggered over several weeks. New invitations will continue to go out every few weeks after launch as new streamers qualify for the program. Invitations will not be instant as soon as the streamer meets the criteria, meaning like they could say, hey, you're in. It's not going to immediately turn on that day. So it's going to take a few weeks, apparently. So I think once they get all that settled, it'll probably be a faster thing. They also mentioned that criteria is probably going to change regardless, you know? So that's what it's starting at. And I think it's really broad. I'm very much for... I saw a tweet that I'll let you get back to that, what you're saying, but I saw a tweet where somebody was like, "Oh, this is a great, you know, strive forward for inclusivity," and I'm like, "No, it's not. This is more exclusivity than ever." What are you, dumb?
I think it's a bit of both, really.
No, I don't really think so. I think that anything that has a pay at the door fee, any kind of like requirement, that's exclusivity by far. And making it even more, it adds a little bit more to it, but it also separates. Like you said, I guess I do agree with you. It's a little bit of both. Yeah, I do agree with you.
So yeah, I know. I think it's a nice move on their part.
Sure.
I still would like to see a bit more features for people who aren't partnered, because like sometimes you try to watch some people's streams and you can't really, if they don't have the quality settings and stuff, then transcoding. Transcoding, then a lot of people get screwed by that.
Yep.
But I mean, it is what excuse me, it is what it is. Twitch trying to make money. I mean, it's a business, so
and I'm pretty sure
it's not a charity.
The monetization tools that exist currently, I mean, they're going to add more, probably, it sounds like.
Yeah.
But currently, at the bits, they said that the streamer gets like 1% of the bit value or whatever. So, like, if you bought like 100 bits and they were like, I don't know, $1 or $1 and some change, whatever, basically you'd be giving somebody like a penny for 100 bits or something. Like, it's not a very high ratio at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had all that a long time ago. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that just because you get into this affiliate program that you can be raking into. Definitely not. I think this is just kind of more of an incentive kind of type program to me that, it's like a baby step towards maybe getting partnership.
Mm-hmm.
So as opposed to you just streaming, nothing ever comes of it. You don't make any progress.
Nah, he's just trolling.
It's like going on a diet. If you're just seeing the end goal, but you don't focus on all the little steps in between, you'll never get there. But if you have something that you can strive to achieve in between there, then yeah. So I think a few more people get partnered. Probably not going to be a whole lot from this, but a few more people are going to get like actual partnership with Twitch.
Yeah,
going through this process, and at the end of the day, Twitch sees this as an option to make money too. So.
Absolutely. Like somebody was saying, like, that's just a way for them to get more money out of it. I was like, yeah, absolutely. It's a business.
Yeah, it's a business.
And at the same time, it's a beneficial thing for people that want to see something. It's like you constantly work for something and you get nothing.
Yes.
Now there's a little bit of hope, and a little bit of hope
those
for humanity
people,
is a big thing.
All of those ambitious people who want partnership and have worked really hard, and they're like, oh my God, all these people get partnered. I work so much harder, blah, blah. This is at least something for them to feel like they've accomplished something in that pathway. And like we're all saying, Twitch is making out on top of this for sure.
Oh, that's
100%. So
who are they making out with?
Smart. Obviously our monies and PR.
So one thing I don't think that I really understood here, but our affiliates are not going to get a sub button, right?
Actually, they are going to get one. They're going to get one, but it's not coming right away.
They're going to get one in what way? Like the $5 one?
One period. You get one. Like the way it works.
Explain one what? One sub button?
One sub emote.
No, I don't give a shit about emotes, dude. I'm talking about like they're not getting a sub button, right?
Well, eventually there will be a sub button because
it sounds like there will be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it has their like subscriptions, and it says all streamers know Twitch affiliates coming soon, and then Twitch partners.
It says affiliates will eventually have access to basic versions of our tools, including subscriptions, game commerce, and advertising.
Okay.
So it will be, but everything's going to be a limited version.
Right,
so
they have a
lower percentage.
Yeah, so it's probably going to be a different percentage. Instead of 50-50, it'll probably be like maybe 20% or something. So
yeah.
I don't know, whatever the number is. It's going to be less.
Yeah, I did see at the bottom of
everything
that
is limited,
page they
so
had a
yeah.
chart showing like who gets what or whatever. So, yeah. Well, it's something. So I think that what it more shows for me whenever I like see people react to it, it's more so the mindset of that person. You know, it's less about like to me, I'm not like, oh, Twitch is evil. No, it's a fucking business. And how people respond to that kind of thing is just the standard, like, oh, well, that's how that person thinks about things. It's like where somebody might see an opportunity, another person will see like, and I'm like, yeah, well, I mean, I suppose, but that's life in general, right? You know, you either see some opportunities or you just constantly complain about the one that's not fitted to you directly and is not handed to you on a fucking platter. So
yeah, I feel like the I don't give a fuck or oh, I'm super excited are like the two kind of appropriate responses. Anybody who's like butthurt over this,
yeah,
is an idiot, or like super pissed that they can't be super elite tier mode or something. Like they're butthurt about something that's stupid.
right. It's just a thing, you know. It's like either it's better than not have anything, and more importantly, it's an option. You know,
Exactly.
Yeah.
there's. I mean, I could get part this affiliate program, and if I do nothing with it, I do nothing with it. You know, it's just there.
I was just gonna mention that I've seen a good few people, like even like Warframe streamers,
Yeah,
get partnership and then just fizzle out
yeah,
and start. I eventually just stop streaming. It's like,
yep.
yeah, I mean, just because you get partnership, that's like, oh, I got drafted into the NBA, great.
Yep.
And then for
The
whole
real
season,
Dark
nobody
Souls
hears
starts
about you.
here.
Yep. For whole season, nobody hears about you, and then you end up back in your hometown working at a gas station.
Yeah, it's true.
You know, that's like
The opportunity
life.
is there. You take it or not, but then that doesn't mean that, all right, I won. No, you got to work now.
No, yeah. No, the work begins.
Yep.
All right.
So I was like the
I
real
gotta,
Dark
I
Souls
gotta
starts
ask
here.
the hypothetical, especially
Sure.
Phil is gonna have to play a little bit of pretend since with his circumstances. he'll
Wait,
just
we
never
gotta get
stream.
him
But
linked.
assuming
What's going
everything
on?
would work, Phil,
Playing
and you
pretend.
could stream, and you would choose the stream, and Janzer, everything is as is. If you got an invite to the affiliate program, would you accept?
You talking to me or
Yeah.
Phil? I'm not sure.
Both
You
of
threw
you.
my
It means
name in
both
there
of
too.
us.
Oh, okay.
I say it, yeah, because I mean, it's not gonna change. If I'm doing it and I'm having fun, it's not gonna change the way I do things or any way that I would stream more or less. I just continue doing it, and if something happens, then great. But if not, I'm not gonna put all my eggs in one basket and say, "Oh, this screwed me over." Blah blah. Blah. No.
Yeah. I feel pretty much the same way. I think that all it would do for me would be my recognition of more responsibility. That's how I felt when I was a Warframe YouTuber, through their program. I felt responsible for doing stuff because they gave me that option to kind of represent them in a way. And as soon as I felt like I wasn't or didn't want to do that anymore, for a variety of reasons, I was like, hey guys, love the opportunity. I think there's some other people that could probably fit this better. And I've done this for about a year. Thanks, you know. And they're like, hey, no problem, you know, whatever, blah, blah, blah. They were really nice about it,
The other,
you know. That's about it.
the other nice thing about it too is that that's something that you can also put on your resume. You know, oh yeah, official Twitch affiliate. You know, that means that you know you have a good communication skills. You know, to deal with communities. Blah blah. You could put so much of that stuff into getting different jobs as a community manager or this and that at different places.
Well, that's if
working at
you
HR, whatever, you know what I mean?
like can see opportunity. If you're like massively negative about things and you can't really, you don't see any way out of anything because maybe you haven't had that option to learn how to think in that way. Well, I think everybody kind of, well, not everybody, but a lot of people do. You just have to put the work into thinking about like how to get what you want. Yeah. It's an option. It's neat. An option is always a nice option unless you think that it's too much for you to work with, and then hey, that's what that is too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I mean, sometimes you just gotta look at, you know, you could take something that people could see as negative and twist it to positive. You know what I mean? Like you burn stuff when you cook food. Yeah, I'm just put on. Yeah, I am a connoisseur in the arts of flambe.
Oh,
okay, I'm not delusional. All right,
I'm kidding.
I know
what do you?
are.
I don't know if I don't know if you saw it, Phil. Janzer, I'm sure that you read it. What do you think about the verified chat badge for partners to make them feel like they're still important?
I don't really understand what that was. I missed that. That
It
went over
seemed
my
to me
head.
like, you know how like when you're in in someone's channel, like there's like the subscriber symbol, the mod symbol, the streamer symbol, whatever. From what I gathered, it's like a chat badge that goes across everything, so that when they're in other places, that people know that they're a partner. That's what I think it was.
Oh, so like an affiliate or only partners would get
It's
that
only
badge?
partnered. Yeah, it's only partners.
Oh, I see, because currently they have nothing.
Right, none of that exists. So the
So
only way
that's
to know
just
that
saying-
someone's a partner is to be in their channel and see they have a sub button.
You know what that feels like? That feels like you've got two kids and you're giving stuff to the little kid,
Yes.
and the older
And
one
the other
is
one
like,
is
or
like-
you're giving stuff to the big one,
Yeah.
and the little one's like, well,
What about me?
You're
Where's
still
my
important,
candy
honey.
bar? Yep.
Here's your
That's how I
here's
feel.
your lollipop. Yeah.
Yep. It's hilarious. That's exactly what I thought of when I read it. I was like, oh, they're like, don't worry, partners. Don't
Right.
worry. We got something for you too. Look,
You know
they
what?
don't have all the stuff that you have, and we'll give you this cool little badge.
As silly as that is, it's important because people are still on
It really
the
is.
whole, we
It
feel
is
what
the-
we feel, and gaming, especially gamers, are very emotional. It seems, I know I am. I'm a very emotional person, but
Yeah, I read on Twitter that somebody who rolls in like a team with a bunch of partnered streamers,
yeah.
that they were a little let down by some people's response to the affiliate program, and
What's that?
I'm guessing that those responses were negative, and I'm guessing they're probably from Twitch partners being like brah 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 brah. So I mean, that's exactly why probably that chat badge exists.
Oh, they were let
but-
down by how partners were talking about it.
It was vague, and it was vague for
Gotcha.
a very logical reason. But
Right.
the person that posted that on Twitter, I know, is in a team with a lot of partnered
Yeah.
streamers, and so it could have just been like, "Hey, I'm in big circles with a lot of partners, and some of the responses people have been having to this is kind of fucked up." So that's without actually seeing whatever comments he's talking about. That's what I assumed he was talking about, was people being like, blah 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 blah
You know
blah
what?
blah blah. Because really, again, like we were saying, there's really no reason to be upset about this.
Yeah,
It's
there's
like, oh, that's
honestly no
cool,
downside
or
to
I don't
it.
give a shit.
I honestly think that that's probably a small vocal minority
Sure.
of the partners, because I guarantee you, if you go to some of the big streamers, the biggest streamers, they'll be like, don't matter to
give a
me.
shit.
I would
why
I would think that a
I don't
majority
care.
of the
Actually,
partnership
some of them
would
would
be
be
like,
like, it's
oh,
great.
that's
More
cool.
people,
There's a lot of
let's do it.
people that I know that deserve something because
Right.
they work hard.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yep.
Well, unless you're an asshole.
yeah, exactly. Unless you're an
And-
asshole.
Look, that's coming from me, and I call. Even now, I'm like, there's nothing wrong with it. I don't care. It's like, why would I
Yeah.
give a shit
'Cause-
unless I'm bitter about what I was able to accomplish, right?
Yeah, and I got a feeling as well too that those are probably like people that are newer partners as well, like not the older ones. Because
I get it.
if you look at like some of the people who are partnered for a lot of years,
Yeah.
yeah, if you were people that were
get it.
partnered for a lot of years as well too, you always find that people go to them and ask them, what did you do? Like, how did you get into this full time? And they will sit down and take the time during their stream while playing
Right.
games and stuff to talk to these people and say, like, don't quit your full time job. It's not something you just jump
Don't
into.
quit your day job,
this
kid.
blah blah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they would get them words of wisdom. Sometimes they even do little podcasts and they talk about Twitch partnership and what goes into it.
Yeah.
Like how you gotta deal with your taxes, and they actually take the time to work, like to tell people stuff.
That's
People
good.
like that are not going to people that are going to complain. And I
Yeah.
find a lot of the big Twitch streamers are the community that they have within Twitch is the complete opposite of YouTube, where you just got people coming
Oh,
in
yeah.
in the morning and complaining. Twitch people will be like, oh yeah, this week, yeah, I seen your stream, and yeah, but
You know,
what you could
Phil,
do. They're always willing to help out.
That is a great point. Where are all the Twitch is dead streams and I fucking hate Twitch, but I'm still here streaming because I don't know how to let you go? Where are the Brokeback Mountain streams? Like YouTube does every fucking
you.
anything that comes out of YouTube is like, it's the worst thing ever. And that's another thing too. I don't really understand the hate for YouTube by people that are not actively using it. Like, who cares? If you don't like it and you're using a different platform like Twitch because you think it's the most amazing thing since sliced bread, great. you don't need to actively hate on YouTube and tell us how shitty it is, because in some ways YouTube is fucking amazing. There's actually a lot of ways that it's amazing in the fact that you can put your garbage there for free for as long as they see fit to keep it there for free. And the bandwidth is free to just to just send them fucking data. They got to pay for that bandwidth, you know? Yep. They got to pay for that storage. They're getting you advertisers for free at the click of a fucking button. You have to do nothing but click a fucking button and put your basic information in, unless you're, I don't know, you don't have tax information because you're, you know, Wesley Snipes trying to avoid taxes. But he already paid all his, so don't worry about that. Bad joke.
Yep.
It doesn't, you know?
Not yet. You don't. You did do all the heavy lifting, and at the end of the day, you know what? YouTube could have ended up being a place where people just put videos up, right? And Google puts ads there and makes money off of it.
Oh,
and that's it. They didn't have to give you any money.
And I guarantee people still would have gone out, because I remember back in my day, people would go and actively find and seek out partnerships for advertising on their own. It was a very common thing. That's why people would get pissed off about, like, well, you need to say that this is a product that you got from something or whatever, you know? Like, that became a very big thing back in the day, too, you know, about, like, And I remember they also tried to crack down on, like, you can't do contests anymore or whatever. I think that kind of went into a gray area, and I don't really hear anything about that. But if you've been on YouTube long enough, you remember where there was, like, YouTube's not letting you do contests, giveaways anymore, you know? Because that was such a rampant thing. That's how a lot of people got a lot of fucking subs, you know? But, I think they went through a whole bunch of legal... I think they went through a bunch of whole legal mumbo jumbo to make sure that they were covered, and said, you know what? Is that you? If you do this, YouTube has no involvement with your giveaways. Yeah. So that people's like, oh, this person did this on YouTube. Deal with them. Right. It's in our contract. So that's probably why people can do it now. So, I think we've kind of exhausted this. Graham's dead, so that's good. So
my brain was just derailing. I'm like, I wonder if we could call this podcast affiliated with Faegwent.
Affiliate.
That's where my brain was going for the last 40 seconds.
Yeah. Now sponsored by now sponsored. I like that. Yeah, great. I've got nothing else to kind of rant about or whatever, my usual garbage that I talk about. But as far as like that's concerned, so I'm ready to move on unless y'all are not. You want to stew in it a little bit longer?
So you got something sexy to share with everybody?
Yeah, Phil, you got something?
I mean, got stuff. I don't know if it's sexy, but
say it a little slower.
Let us be the judge of that.
Yeah. But I mean, speaking of people ranting and carrying on, you know, like the author of the Witcher books apparently says that video game stories are bad and they steal money from writers. So, as
like he's saying that in general, or specifically about the video games that were made from his novels.
I think he's talking about his experience and then just saying that it's that way in general. Like they take stuff from writers and books and all that stuff and just do their own thing.
It's very true.
I think it's just bitter.
Like movies.
He's got a good point, because I'm pretty sure all of the literature and media that I've consumed in my life has never been from a place previous, and they've never been duplicated either. So everybody's stealing from everybody.
It's true,
and it's definitely wrong. He's
the issue is that he doesn't consider video games to be a medium capable of good storytelling.
Oh, okay.
He doesn't see it as valid, probably because he's super jealous.
But the thing is, he doesn't play video games.
Yeah.
So that's like me. That's like me saying, I think these moving pictures things are horrible.
we
back in my days, we looked at still pictures and they were great. You know, and have you ever watched the movie? No, I have not. You know, how can you speak about it? You know nothing about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So apparently he believes that he made.
Oh, there's more. Oh my God.
Yeah. Oh, of course there's more. You don't just rant. You don't just make mad rants and just leave it at that. So he believes that he made The Witcher popular outside of Poland. with all of his, well, like when his books were translated into different languages, introduced into the West, but English translation because he's from Poland.
He's saying the fame came from the books, not from the game.
Yeah, from the books, not from the game.
Gotcha.
But it is actually vice versa.
Exactly.
Because people dug up some research and realized that his books were translated and published, because you got to put when your books are published, the dates, publishers put all that information.
Right.
Were published in 2007 to 2008. But the first Witcher game was released in 2006.
Yeah. Well, this is we've brought up the author before, just real quick, on the podcast, and really the reason I see that he's saying all this shit is because he accepted a deal that was not as beneficial to him in the long run because he didn't think that anything was really going to come out of selling the rights to it.
Yeah. The thing is that not that he accepted. They apparently CD Projekt Red, they offered him rights.
Oh, I know. He did accept
and
it.
Stuff. But he said, I don't want that. I want this amount of money up front.
Yep.
And that's it. Because he obviously they were this is their first, game that they were gonna put out. So it's like, and he doesn't like video games.
Dude,
anyway.
I broke this story. Like, well, I didn't break it, but I know what you're talking about. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So it's like basically he put himself in the position that he's in. So he getting no residuals, no royalties.
He wanted the money.
He just got a one-time fee
because he didn't think anything was going to come out of it, And then somebody turned it into something amazing, and then he's like,
he gambled on the safe play, and then he realized that the potential was lost. And that's the fucking man up with the choice you made, bro.
But interesting enough, another guy from Moscow whose name is Dmitry
2033.
Guskowski.
Yeah, that's what I thought of when you were telling this story.
Yep. He's the writer for Metro
2033.
33. And he quoted after he saw what this the other guy from The Witcher said. He said, and I quotes, "I think that he's totally wrong and that he's an arrogant motherfucker."
Yeah.
I love that, man.
We heard that. He said, without the gaming franchise, The Witcher series would never get this crazy international readership that it has. So this is a fellow writer now.
Right.
Let him know. No, dude.
Whose novel also became a game, by the way.
But who probably picked a better deal.
A successful game as well.
Yeah. Well, this, what you said that he said that, oh my God, you said, what am I, high school? The author of The Witcher said that video games steal from books. Is that what he was, or take away from books, or is that what that kind of gist of it was?
He was saying that, well, his other thing too is that he's saying that the game stole sales from him.
Right. They're bad ways to tell stories is what you were saying, right?
Yeah. Because he's saying basically right now a lot of his fans are just like young kids because they're people that just see the game and think that the books are based on the game.
Gotcha.
But he's trying to say the books came first.
Right.
So he's saying that he's got
a few problems.
Kid fan that he gets, he's losing another fan. Because people just
he's mad.
And I'm like,
because he's not being seen as the original, so he's not getting all the glory that he feels he deserves.
To be fair, that would sting. That would sting. That's true. But
the thing is that they do state that they are adapted from the book.
Well, but people aren't.
His claim is that it's in fine print. Yeah, you gotta go looking for it. It's like, of course, you made that. You signed that card. If he signed an agreement where he had the royalties, they would clearly put that on. Based on Witcher books, blah blah blah. They would have put that. They would have plastered that in there.
Yeah,
they would have probably put best-selling book by such and such, and
given that it's taken this long too, he probably was fine with it, and they were probably very generous with how they were treating it. But given that he didn't give a fuck, they just kind of well, whatever. He doesn't give a fuck, so we'll just we'll put it in there anyway, But now that it's turning so much money and they're getting so much press, CG Project specifically, now it's it's I got to strike now, fucking gold digger.
Yeah, but he's just probably just trying to bring more attention to his books, his legacy.
Of course.
That the games are based on, but
Dude's got some problems. That's all I know.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of low issues.
That's all it
there.
is. I think if he was smart, he would have, signed for royalties and stuff, and then he would have a really good partnership, and he probably will go on to write books because all his books are based on how The Witcher became The Witcher.
Yeah, yeah.
So they just took what The Witcher would have become, and then they made their stories and developed the games on that. So nothing that's in the books is in the game per se, in terms of what the character does and how they,
I
interact
think
with people.
Smart, he would humble himself a little bit and be like, hey, all these games that you really love were based off of a great story that I wrote, and you should come check out my books for an even greater, deeper understanding of this phenomenal character, and use it as a tool to promote himself, as opposed to being like, oh my god, I can't believe it. That's not as good as my shit.
Right, you ingratiate
instead he's shooting
yourself
himself in the foot more than anything. Yeah, he looks like a fucking whiny asshole.
But then this goes back to that perspective thing that I was talking about Twitch, Like, he could look at this like, hey, you guys made my series popular. I'm going to be your best friend now. And I sold my rights off. Let's say he did it because he needed to have a surgery for his mom or something, So that was the money he needed to take right then and there. Whatever the fucking reason is, after the fact, you see this is blowing up, you don't get pissed about it. You're like, this is, like you said, Graham, you become positive about it. You're like, wow, yeah, this is great. This, you kind of start talking about it maybe, but you never say, fuck these guys. No, this is bullshit. Fucking idiot. That's a surefire way to get yourself blown up.
Yep. Because you never know. They could probably decide that they want to do some kind of not a spin-off, but a different thing that's within the same universe. And they might say, hey, have you ever had any ideas? You want to write a story for? Boom. You could be writing the next story for another game, and that game could blow up and sell millions of copies, and it's like, I'm rich.
Not only that, but let's see, there's characters that they developed in the game that had nothing to do with his books, and people want to know more about that character. They could be like, hey, this is an opportunity for both of us to make some money. Let's say I'm the game company. I would just go to the source and say, look, there's this character that everybody really likes. Let's do some kind of deal. You write a book about the character because people want to hear backstory, whatever it is. We both profit on it. Boom, there you go.
Yeah,
exactly.
Lots of things.
Yeah, this could be an opportunity. Instead, he's making it so that he sounds so awful that even if I did ever think about reading his books, I'd be like, no, I don't want to fucking buy his book. Fuck that.
Exactly. Yeah, he sounds like an asshole.
Yeah.
That's coming from an asshole. Oh, shit. But, you don't have to be overly positive. Like, oh, I see the silver lining everywhere. Fuck you. I hate those people. You just have to have the ability to be pragmatic at some point and put your feelings aside.
His feelings are valid, absolutely.
Sure.
I mean, most people would feel the same, but don't act like an asshole because of it.
Or
turn
do
it
that
into something
in your
that helps
closet
you
when you're drunk or something.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And then move on.
Close your closet and scream fuck, assholes, fuck, and then go out to the world and be like, look at this amazing thing. I can help you make it more amazing.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, you could turn that. Yeah. The kids are coming to you talking about the video game. It's like, again, and then you just get that out of the way. Then you're like, the game. Did you know that actually came from? I actually wrote all these. Yeah. So would you like to know more? Now we're getting into the goddamn space bugs. All right, sorry.
But I mean, the interesting thing though is that it's not even that he has to promote his books when people play the game. It's like people play the game.
They look for it.
They look for it.
Exactly.
They Google the character. They realize there's a book, and then they're like, "Oh, cool."
So even if they think that the books came afterwards, they're still going looking for the books.
Yep.
At which point, then they could become educated and know, wait, this actually came first. The game is based on the books, or whatever, and he could take that time to educate his fans.
Right.
And
then those fans can go into
more sales.
Twitch affiliate streams and be like, "Did you know that the book came first?"
Yeah. Then you got more fuel for the hipsters. God damn it.
And then if you realize that your market is a demographic of a lot of
hipsters,
younger people, hipsters, kids, whatever. look at what other
elitist
other games are doing, and say, realize, You know that Overwatch thing? Every time they release a big update or whatever, they release a comic book with it. How
Right.
about a Witcher comic book? And I can write that.
Oh my god.
You know, I get somebody now to take a story from one of my older books. He doesn't even have to create new stuff.
It's
he can
true.
take a particular thing from his older books and get somebody to just do illustrations for it.
Yep.
Boom, that's money. Kids they would buy that shit. They would
And
eat
that's
that
another
stuff and put it
way-
in limited edition copies as well.
See,
Oh,
I don't
man.
know. Here's a good question though. If he sold the rights to the stuff, I don't even know if he can write anything more about that world. You know, I'm not even sure if that's possible.
It depends on the agreement he
On
made.
what
He
he
might have
sold.
just sold the rights
Yeah.
for them to
To
but he might
use
have only just
digitally.
made the agreement for them to use it as a game or digitally. But he
Right.
might still be able to just write books. Because
Right.
I think he continued to write. I think he has 5 books in total. So I don't know if
There you go.
I don't know if he stopped writing books and then they made the game.
Hmm.
Possibly. But I think it would be kind of stupid to make an agreement where he can't write any more books.
Yeah.
That would be
Well,
carrying
if
a
he's
bit-
really dumb,
his
he might have
stupidity a bit
sold
too
like
far.
everything. I mean, it happens to music artists. You know, it's out for time out of mind.
Yeah.
So
And again, it might also be a whole hard up he was for cash as well too. He might
Exactly.
have just said, "Well, fuck it, I need this money."
here, have this garbage. Yeah, I don't care. Somebody saw the gold in
Yeah.
it. You know. Just I'm
But I
kind
still
of
think
hoping
that-
one day
I still
somebody
think
drops
that-
by my Twitch streaming channel and sees the gold and what I produce. Nah, that's all garbage.
Yeah.
It's the other G.
I still think that he could take stuff from his books and get graphic novels made from that, and he could make it an agreement with it. That'd be a whole new agreement because that's not digital
Right.
until I guess he decides to make it a digital copy. But mostly you can just want a physical copy.
Yeah,
of that
maybe
stuff
Marvel will pick
to
it up.
start
They
off.
need some new characters instead of like changing out their current lineup and just like making all garbage and blaming the fans for it. Idiots. Well, are we done calling that guy an idiot?
Fuck that guy. He's an idiot.
Yeah.
All right, now I'm good.
Yeah, me too. Oh man.
Graham, what do you have?
Well, if anybody has been following anything, pretty much 90% of the
Oh.
time, like, I've been playing Elder Scrolls Online. And everybody's like, surprise!
That was gross.
So that's
Hey,
pretty
you
much
play
what I've
that
been
game?
doing.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
I've been streaming other games, but that's because I've been playing so much ESO when I'm not streaming. If I have downtime, that's pretty much what I've been doing. But they also did like a double XP event followed by a double XP event, and then like the last one, which ended on Monday, was like 3 weeks long. And when you did crafting, you got like a little present box that had like 2 items in it, and it might have been like a motif, which is how you make stuff that you craft look different. So basically, fashion.
Yeah.
Or a giant stack of not an actual stack for nerds that know ESO things, but a bunch of crafting material. So basically you crafted and you get a bunch more crafting crap or pretty stuff. And so I was all about that. So I did that for a lot. But yeah, the big news for that is there's outrage and all sorts of panic and burning. The world is falling with the PTS updates going forward to Morrowind. And there's a fuck ton of like information and changes. If anybody is listening to this and is like, what the fuck are you talking about? I want to look at this. I'm a visual learner. It's the PTS 3.0 Morrowind update.
Public test server. That's a different
Yeah,
install
PTS.
of the game, right?
Yeah, the Morrowind update is coming in June, I believe.
Ah, gotcha.
That's the next expansion where they go back to the island of Vardenfell, Morrowind, which would be like the same setting as Elder Scrolls 3, which is for a lot of people like where they started in the series.
Yeah, Morrowind.
Similar to how a lot of the current like younger gaming generation started in Skyrim. So it's the like previous like gamer generations Skyrim.
Yeah. Yeah, all the,
So it hits all the
Elder Scrolls
nostalgia
people would
feels
know.
basically.
Yep.
But yeah, and
I missed all
you
that.
know, was that?
I missed all that. I didn't really get into any of that stuff back then, but I know there's plenty of Elder Scrolls people that just their game dick just got hard.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah. I mean, I at the time a PC was too expensive in my brain, but I played Morrowind on somebody's Xbox, and that's why I bought an Xbox. It was to play Morrowind. I love the shit out of that game, but I'm not as like attached to nostalgia as a lot of people. So it doesn't affect me in that same way. But I love that game. But anyway, so the big things with the PTS, there's a bunch of shit in there, a bunch of like fixes, a bunch of additions, blah blah blah. There's a lot of shit, and if you give a crap, it's worth looking over. But I just want to hit the highlights of like the controversy, which has to do with the champion system being revamped and a whole bunch of like details for classes and resources. And the term resources refers to your magicka or stamina, because all abilities and skills take out of those pools, one or the other.
Yeah, from what I saw from the champion system, this is just a like quick view. Looks like they're buffing it.
Kind of.
It literally said that in wording. It didn't say buff, but it did say
they're raising
up
number.
like a lot of values, and I was like, good, because it looked really weak when I looked at it.
Yeah, well, currently they're raising the cap, so they've done this multiple times. So the champion points are now 630. They will be 630. Right now, the cap is 600. But in the current installment of champion points, they have breakdowns or whatever. I know, Janzer, you looked into it a little bit because you have a character that reached champion level, but when I first looked at it, it was like nonsense forever. It was just random shit. I'm like, I don't even know what the fuck's going on. But basically, it has a whole bunch of, it looks like Skyrim's constellation system. You just go and you find whatever, and then you apply your points into them. And it will do things like reduces the cost of blocking by 0.3% for each point. So a lot of the different ones, you put in a point, and it's like does something by like 0.3%. So the big change here that they're rebalancing is their front and heavying it, so it's diminishing returns. So instead of every single point being 0.3, the first like 10 points might be like 4%. But then once you get to like your 600th champion point, it's like 0.1%. So they're front ending it, so they're basically bridging the gap between new champions and veteran champions. So they're making it less top heavy, which is interesting. A lot of people that have been playing a long time initially, of course, get butthurt because they're no longer OP as fuck. Which is standard for most hardcore people. I used to hold some hardcore mindsets with a lot of RPGs because I was that kid that played RPGs all the time, so I understand it, but it's stupid. So they're really butthurt because they're not as OP, and people who are noobs are going to be closer to them in stats and blah, blah, big fucking whoop, grow a pair and do better. But what's interesting about that then is if you have somebody in PvP or something where you have like a 200 champion point build and a 600 champion point build, they're going to be a lot closer than they would be now. Their equivalent would be like a 500 to a 600, but now they're only 200. So now you are going to be able to do more if you're a newer player or you haven't played as hardcore. And there's a lot of these kind of implications and a lot of these changes that they're helping newer players. One of the other things in the general level 1 to 50 is they're leaving the same amount of XP to get from 1 to 50, but they're making it so the it's more of a exponential experience requirement. So now the gap between 49 and 50 is larger, but the gap between 1 and 2 is really small. So you're going to start like burning through lower levels a lot quicker. And they also wanted to make quests experience more rewarding to compete with grinding for levels by fighting mobs. So that way, if you wanted to level up, you weren't penalized for playing content and enjoying the game. Since it wasn't as max minning, but that's also nerd stuff. But yeah, so that is one part that people are a little butthurt about, but that's mostly it helps everyone unless you're max level, and if you're already max level, it doesn't change your character at all. It just makes other people closer to stats to you.
Yeah, no, and it makes sense because they are trying to do this thing where they're getting a lot more, people to play. And if you look at their Steam charts, they have been doing a good job because they were averaging about 2,000 to 3,000 for some months before January. In January, February, December, whatever. I mean, January, February, March, it's been like 9,000. So they're doing a pretty good job. I think 7,000 at some points. They're doing a pretty good job of bringing in new people, and I think they just want to continue that. Makes sense, right? Makes sense to continue that. So how do you do that? I know for myself, when I hit champion, I was like, yeah, I did it. Yeah, I got champion points, and they suck. 0.01%? What the fuck, man? They ain't going to help me. How much do I have to invest in this to actually get it good? And I was like, ugh. So it's kind of a letdown when you hit champion, you see champion points, and they're not really doing anything for you. Like you said, they used to give you more on the back end, but now they're going to give you more on the front end, which works out, I think, for everybody because people that, like you said, it keeps balancing. I think they do a good job when it comes to balancing stuff. But then again, I haven't played for a really long time, so I don't really know. Yeah. I just know from a new player perspective, and I've got a crap load of hours in the game. Well, what I would consider to be a lot of hours, but everybody, you barely even played. But how much do I have? I've got
you got a lot of hours.
248 hours.
That's the thing.
248 hours, and most of that was within the span of about 2 months. Yeah, 2 to 3 months at most. If you want to try to collect all the other months together and throw it into another month, maybe. Indeed.
Yeah, and it's really interesting. Also, if you end up giving a shit and looking at the PTS patch notes, I liked that the team or whoever had been in charge of putting them together put in a lot of they put developer notes. They explained why they did a lot of these things. So I'm even less confused why people are super mad, bro. Except for the fact that it's because they're mad because 1, they're not as OP anymore, or 2, the meta is changing, which always makes people mad. And that has to do a lot with the changes that are making to classes and resources.
Yep.
Which changes the meta a lot, which, anybody who runs by meta, of course, they're like, I invested so much into my build to be super OP, and now I'm going to have to learn to get good.
Yeah, but those people usually aren't doing much anything anyway.
Yeah, exactly. So
this is another opportunity for you to actually start playing the game again in a less,
Yeah. Is
so
that the MMO standard, though?
Yeah.
You get an expansion or whatever, no, you gotta get a higher level score in your gear or something.
And so a lot of people are like, oh, they're catering to casuals. But they even say here, in the resource notes, they said, our goal with these changes, they have a combat system that reinforces decision making and resource management. Having players make choices between abilities, buffs, and gear that provide more damage, or ones that provide more resources to sustain, ultimately helps ensure that ESO's combat stays balanced and healthy for years to come. They were saying that people have managed to figure out through meta and whatever that they don't need to worry about resources and management. They just need to focus. They do these 3 same things, and then they just focus all on DPS.
That's all
and they don't have to. Yep, and they can just mash the same abilities over and over again, and they don't have to think as much. It just becomes learn a rotation and execute that rotation over and over again.
Yeah.
So they wanted to make combat more dynamic by breaking the meta.
Of course, yeah, and that's why they do that, because it becomes rote, and nobody wants to play a game that the end game is already written for you. It's oh. That sucks. I mean, that's what I have to look forward to. That's it, Well, I don't want to say nobody. There's actually plenty of people that seem to apparently really enjoy that. Hence, all those build videos where people are watching them, and I'm I don't want to see what my limitations are. To me, I see that as a limitation. I was that's what you have. That's it. I was what about other ways? And I was
Yeah. So the biggest thing is they're making a lot of recovery, stamina or magicka recovery based on level as opposed to the maximum pool. So if you dump all of your attribute points, which is pretty much how everybody has always had to do their builds since whatever meta has been in place, you dump everything in the stamina or everything in the magicka, if that's your build, because it makes your pool larger and everything that is based off that pool. So now they're getting away from that and make it based on your level. So now you have a lot more mobility in that build. You can put some into magicka, you can put some into health if you want to be more tanky, and you can do whatever you want with it. as opposed to being like, well, I'm not getting enough of my resources back because I'm not dumping it all into this. So that's what they're doing. So doing a lot of things like that where they're basing it off of your level as opposed to the pool.
But you know what? At the end of the day, a bunch of people are going to sit down, do a bunch of play testing, and they're going to find new metas for this thing.
Of course.
For this new setup. And then people are just going to go back into that same mode and say, all right, well, this is what I need to do. And then they can just go and do that stuff. So
yeah,
it's like,
of course, because there's always going to be a meta. Always.
Yeah, they're just bitching and moaning for no good reason when they know they can just find the other easiest route to go.
But yeah,
as opposed to just doing their own thing and experimenting themselves.
Yeah.
So like because of this, like the biggest concern, like one of my characters that I've been playing the most on recently is my stamina tank, Dragon Knight, and right now he's pretty ridiculous. Like I can tank really hard, and like I can put up enough buffs and like stuff that I can start reviving people if they go down. Like I've clutched a lot of dungeons with random people before because of that, and they seem to be hitting like that specific type of build the hardest, but they haven't been touching Magicka things as much, or like specifically sorcerers. So of course everybody's like, well, they didn't even do anything to that one, but they're fucking up my character. So like people are all butthurt about it. But that ultimately that's what the big thing is they're front ending champion points, and they're changing a lot of stuff with the resources and resource management. So
and you got the new warden class too.
And the new warden class, which they're trying to do that. So, like, the whole thing is, like, they want everybody just to play the warden. But, well, duh, it's new, and they know people are going to play it anyway. But, yeah, so
which
they're doing a bunch of changes
for MMOs.
Yeah, exactly, right?
It's common for games in general that have consistent character classes. Who wouldn't want to play the new thing? That's what it's for, you idiot. Jesus.
The biggest thing out of all, there's details on all the different classes and stuff, which I think if you play the game you should look at, because you'll have a better understanding of what the fuck happened to my character when you do play, once they do take effect. But the biggest thing that I think that is interesting is in heavy armor there's a passive called Constitution, and it's when you take damage you restore Magicka and stamina. Ooh. And so they're reducing what's restored by 42%, which is a huge amount.
Yeah,
so
never mind.
Like I was saying, like my tank, what's nice about my tank is that I can continue to block, or I can use abilities while blocking, because as I'm taking damage from my heavy armor, I'm getting shit restored.
Right.
So now, just like, because that directly impacts resource management, which is where they're trying to make the game different. So you have to either like sacrifice some DPS or like hard hitting things and focus on management, or you just got to change up your playstyle so you're not mashing skills all the time.
Right.
But yeah, so that's like a big thing, because they're like, oh my god, my tank is going to be garbage, blah.
Well,
so
the
you
lack
have
of
to
understanding.
change the way.
Yeah,
they don't want you to just hold a block 100% of the time and win.
Yeah.
They want you to have to pick and choose when you're going to block.
But that
pick and choose when you're going to drop.
That mentality of like my tank is going to be garbage is a lack of overarching view. Once again, like usual with most things and with people in life, in the fact that everyone is going to be affected, you know? So the fucking field is changing.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not just you idiot. You know? They
Yeah,
just don't want the change. That's all. They just don't
and
want
everybody is,
change.
of course, focusing on the nerfs, not like the various buffs and whatever. And they do a really nice job of saying, hey, this resource thing, this is what it means. So they'll even say, if your max stamina is at 2,400 or above, this is considered a nerf. But if it's under, this is considered a buff. So they even give you a lot of those details to let you know, hey, motherfucker, you can calm down. It just means you might want to put some more points into health or Magicka this time. So basically, what's really cool about this is they're getting away from that max-min heavy, like, dump into everything specialized, and it's making maybe a hybrid approach a little bit more viable, which is really cool, because, again, that just means you have more options.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. I read it, and I heard everybody complaining, and I was like, I can't tell if this is legit or everybody's just freaking out because change is bad. And then I read it, and I was like, actually, I'm way less concerned now. And I think everybody who gives a shit or thinks that they give a shit should read the patch notes, because it's very interesting.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, lots of stuff
that,
and very interesting. If you're like a newer player or not like played for a million years and not hardcore and not like super mad bro, it sounds like it's a pretty cool thing for everyone. So.
Yeah, that just that mentality. I think you're probably wrapped up with that. I think that mentality just reminds me of like reading why people like what was the breaking point for people leaving the division, and it's the same stuff like, well, changes to the game mean I have to change my gear or loadout, and I was like, I that's understandable. That's the same for every fucking game though, Warframe, any game that if it's a persistently developed or looked after video game where the developers are trying to make changes for various reasons, it's gonna happen. It's like going outside and complaining that wind occurs, it's like, yeah, don't go outside then, I guess, then you won't get hit with the wind. I was looking at that thing about where people were talking about their breaking point, whatever. And just a lot of it is like what you said about if people care. I wonder about that. Like, there were people there on that thread for the Division specifically that said that they had left about after or when 1.3 dropped or something like that. Or even one guy said, I left after the game launched because it wasn't what they showed in E3 or whatever. I'm like, why would you come back and search the internet or come back to this Reddit thread if you left about almost 2 years ago at this point? Or maybe, I don't know when 1.3 was. It was definitely before I started. I started in October, which was about 1.4, I think. Maybe it was during 1.3. I think I started during 1.3. So that 1.3 would have dropped probably in the spring, maybe?
I'm guessing. Remember.
So why would you come back like 9 months later or whatever just to complain in a thread where you are basically saying you don't give a shit and you're here to bitch? Why would I care about your words? You left. Who cares? I don't care. Like, why do you care enough to come back? It's. I don't understand that mentality of like can't letting it go. Just it's gone, man. You're done, right?
Yeah.
Just
let her go.
Well,
you broke it off. Just leave it. Just let it go. You're done.
Yeah.
You don't have to show up 6 months later and be like, "Give back my heart. Fuck you." Just so you know, I'm still mad.
Game died 3 years ago. Then why are you
validate
here?
My feelings?
Apparently, it didn't die in your heart because you keep coming back. So, oh man, you want to talk about dying games?
Yeah,
sure.
Well, not necessarily dying, but Battlefront 2. This is actually a promising thing. Battlefront 1, Star Wars Battlefront 1, when that came out, it kind of piqued everybody's interest and sharply dropped off. It just, lacked stuff.
Oh, Star Wars? Oh, I loved the Battlefront game in the past. I can't wait. It can only be great.
Yeah.
Oh, it's nothing like that at all, and it's kind of blah.
Right, exactly. So one thing they're doing right, though, is they're going to be using dedicated servers for their multiplayer, which, for the love of God, we were talking about this last podcast, too. They're at least doing it right this time around.
Is it still EA?
Yes. Yeah, it's the same developer.
I don't know about EA games on PC, but in my experience on consoles, EA servers have been notoriously shitty, especially the first week, but usually the first month. Just all sorts of inconsistent connectivity and just garbage.
Yeah. So they're not ready for the... that's actually pretty normal, especially for MMOs too. Like, if something big drops, it's going to be horrible for a little while because everybody's trying to... Number one, you have so many people that are there that never were there before. Number two, they never seem to have the correct support. It doesn't matter what game,
I played 6 or 7 Battlefield installments, and it's the same thing every time. And I'm like, what the fuck? You guys even have betas and shit. You guys should have been through this enough. You should know better. But yeah, it's always the same thing. I was just wasn't sure if it was like that on PC too.
I don't know. I don't really know any EA related games that I've played at all that I've had to do multiplayer with. So I can't really say for that. But I can say that it's better that they're handling that versus leaving it peer to peer. So, I mean, we already know peer to peer is garbage. So I would rather have the responsibility be on the company than, there's nothing I can do about it. So
yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah. Which kind of somewhat. Now I don't want to talk about that. That's a big topic. We talked really big about a bunch of different things. Let's talk about something small. There's a game I saw called NBA Playgrounds that's coming out in May for about $20 on the PC. I don't know about on console, but I know it's coming out for both PS4 and Xbox One. And the only reason I'm bringing it up is because I like the style of it. It reminds me of like the old school, just fun basketball games that had nothing to do with like the realism of what sports games have turned into now. Like their more recent NBA games are like that, you know. And it just looked fun and it's cheap. And I was like, that's kind of cool. So something to go look at if you're interested in playing fun basketball type games. Like the characters are kind of like they're drawn like caricatures a bit, you know. They're kind of like big-headed. It reminds me of that NBA Jam a little bit. Not really, you know. But it's that feel, you know. It's that feel of just having a fucking fun time and picking whatever players you want. 2-on-2, I believe, is what it is. And you just get picked from a huge roster and just have a fun time for a cheap price. $20 is not bad, you know.
Yeah, the one that I used to love was NBA Street. That one was just like, you know, commentators in it were just. I think most of it was like 3-on-3, and they'd be like, "He's on fire!" So that when you shoot the ball and you score, it would actually like burn the net.
Yeah,
the ball would get on
like
fire
NBA Jam
and stuff like that. Yeah. I was like, oh yeah, those kind of sports games I kind of lean more towards, because I always get frustrated when I see where you have to play as actual players that actually exist.
Right.
You see them do something absolutely stupid. Like I see Count get really frustrated with, you know, MLB, the show, whereas like he would never do that. It's like, oh come on, he's better than that, or
right,
you know, or whoa, I just strike out this guy. He's like, he's a pretty good guy. He gotta be real pissed, you know. It's like, I find when it tries to be a little too realistic, that it just doesn't feel right to me. Like I just want it to just be some sloppy fun.
Yeah, well, that's how I handle sports in general in my real life. Like I never liked how serious sports got. And so I would always, like playing with my friends, I would do stupid shit like throw to the other team if I was playing football. All right, you know, hey, he's my buddy. Why did you throw to him? He's my buddy. I don't know. It's like, how do I mix it up? Y'all are getting too fucking serious. Chill the fuck out, you know? You're getting way too serious. And they did, you know, we always had people get a little too serious about shit. So that's when I would try to break things up, you know. But, just neat little fun title.
So you said it's called again?
NBA Playgrounds. Should be coming out in May. About $20. I think that's across the board. I could be wrong about console, but I think
I tried looking and I couldn't find definitive. But the one places that actually listed a price, it seemed to imply it was for all platforms.
Yeah.
As in PC as well.
Yeah, PC. I know 20 for sure for the PC. Yeah.
For like console kids, it would probably be.
Oh snap! Like and guys have like some big heads, like bobble heads almost too as well.
Yeah, that's kind of like big-headed caricature-ish. Real players, I believe, but you know, it's all silly good fun. If that's possible to have anymore.
Yeah, and 2v2, like you said.
Oh, I play this. Oh,
right.
I seen some dunks here and stuff that just look. Yeah, this like NBA Street and
for
NBA Jam,
$20. Go look it up. Like if you're interested in any kind of like fun basketball type game. I'm not even sure if that's a thing anymore that people, you know. I remember it because growing up playing NBA Jam. That's what I remember, you know. But
I didn't play a lot of sports games, but that was one of them that I played on the Genesis.
Yeah. See, what I don't know is if there's any multiplayer support in any way, shape, or form.
It said local and online.
Oh, there you go.
Oh,
that
nice.
could be a neat little thing to stream, you know. And the price is right. You know, I mean, it's really cheap, and once that goes on sale, even more so, you know. But you kind of have to.
I like the fact that it has local as well. It's not really a thing as much with PC nowadays, but you know, for console, occasionally, if you have somebody who actually like lives with you or comes
but dude,
over,
I could plug in 2 controllers, and I could totally like. I've got my PC connected to my screen,
there you go,
my TV. So
not every game has like a local co-op option nowadays because so much of the focus is online. So it's really nice that it does have that as a option. It's really cool.
Yeah, no, I didn't even read that far. That's true. Good point.
Also seeing this and seeing the crazy dunks that people do in this, obviously stuff that you can't do in real life.
Right.
This reminds me of I don't know if you remember that. Any of y'all ever played the snowboarding game SSX Tricky?
No,
Yeah, a
I
little
know
bit.
of it.
I didn't play a lot of it, but I have friends that really enjoyed the series, so I got
Yeah,
exposed to
but
it.
it was just I just like games that take like an actual sport and just go buck wild crazy with it. I mean, the stunts that you could do in that were just
They turned into a game?
They
Ah.
defied, yeah. It defied gravity and physics, and it was fucking fun. So yeah, I might look at this game actually.
Yeah, that's
$20.
pretty neat.
I
And
wanted to
definitely
come
when
on
it goes
Steam
on
because I got
sale.
some. Hey, I got some money in my Steam wallet from selling cards, so that would be
there
a
you go.
discount there already.
There you go.
I can get for like $16.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't
Cool.
buy it, but I probably would enjoy watching some people play it. I think there's definitely some people who would make it one of the most entertaining things ever.
Oh yeah,
Because the
dude.
game already caters to fun.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Let's talk about the top game sales for 2017.
Sure.
So they've got some. There's a list here of some games. Apparently, on this list, there's a problem with the Nintendo games that they've put on there in that they don't have digital sales reported. And this is from I forgot it's basically some metrics company that handles all, reported sales at least, and they were gathering all that together. But at the top of the list is something I never would have fucking expected: Ghost Recon Wildlands.
Yeah,
But
I heard about that.
I think that's only because Legend of Zelda's on there, and so is Horizon Zero Dawn. Once again, I think that's only on there because no digital sales are being reported for those two because they're Nintendo, and Nintendo doesn't like people. But yeah, either way, it's nice being at the top, right? Ghost Recon Wildlands. Number 2, For Honor, then you have Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild, of course, which is probably trumping the list, if you actually could see the full sales of it. Resident Evil 7, Mass Effect Andromeda, and that's coming in pretty late into the scene because this is starting back in January, whatever, So that's not bad. Grand Theft Auto 5 still on the fucking charts. And I think it's a great game. I was never going to buy it, but I think it's a great game. Horizon Zero Dawn, of course. Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, but remember, it didn't do as well. Or blah, blah, bad reviews, blah, blah, blah. Still selling like a fucking motherfucker, so it doesn't matter what people say. Yeah. NBA 2017, speaking of realistic sports games, right?
That's really interesting because I think on a couple of PlayStation and Xbox, I think that's been free a couple times.
Oh, this is
So that's
reports.
interesting too.
Yeah.
That's for sales, I know.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
it's
yeah.
interesting because if it did that well, I wonder if some of those people that got it would have for free would have still bought it.
No, that's the thing. Every time I look at sales reports, it's doing well. Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, it's just doing well. So, in fact, at the bottom of the list, Battlefield 1. Yeah. So, once again, those games came out like in the, I guess, late fall, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been a
Couple of them, yeah.
while. They've had time to kind of get their steam going. So this is only in account of this year, January starting. So it's not bad for having come out way back then, but still interesting. I was just freaking out about Ghost Recon Wildlands because I've heard a lot of people say, oh, it's really bland, blah, blah, blah. And there's a new expansion apparently coming out April 25th called Narco Road that's going to be for $15. If you have the season pass, which I think is like $40 or something like that, you're going to get it. But you could also buy it separately for $15. So
Speaking outside of this list, but generally in the past, and you may not know, and that's fine. Do you know how well like Far Cry games have done? They've done pretty well, right?
I have no idea because I never played a Far Cry game. I never really cared about Far Cry.
Yeah, I just because this Ghost Recon has a very strong Far Cry feel, as in like Far Cry from like 2 on.
Yeah, I think that's been said for sure.
Yeah, so I was just wondering if like that specific type of map or playground does well or not.
Well, I think for a shooter-based game that's kind of like an open world shooter-based game, you got the Death of the Division, and then you have Destiny 2 coming out. So I think people kind of felt in the interim they wanted to play something a little fresh, while they were waiting for Destiny 2's last update to come out. and Destiny 2, Destiny's last update to come out. And so Ghost Recon Wildland drops, and they're like, you know what? I'm tired of the Division, and I don't want to play Destiny right now. Let's go do this, you know? So I think that actually fits a good little spot. And I think that's why
true.
so
When
many
did it
people might have
release?
bought it. Back in, what, February-ish? Or the beginning of March? Something like that. I can't remember exactly.
I think you might be right on the money. I wonder if it's like the opposite of like Titanfall
March.
2, where the timing is just right.
Oh, yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. The
Right
opposite
after
of
like
that.
a month or two of all like the heavy hitter games that people like blod out
Yep.
on, and then waiting for something new and fresh,
Yep.
like
yeah.
just around that time.
And that's not really a knock at the Division. That's just looking at the player base, and also looking at the fact that they're not really going to release a whole lot of content or anything like that. Most of the developers have been moved off of the project, that kind of stuff, you know. The game's still around. They're still going to do stuff for it. But if you've played as much, you know, I mean, games have a life cycle, you know. And depending on how much they're putting into it, you know, it seems like this one's a little out of the life cycle. I've got about 386 hours. Now, I had 280 some odd in Elder Scrolls, and I hit that really hard. And 248.
Yeah.
I've got 386 in the Division. So I've honestly, I don't go by this whole hour per dollar of fun, you know, hour of fun per dollar that some people do. I've seen it in various places. Well, I like to, you know, base this off of, did I get like, you know, $20 worth of fun out of it based on the hours or whatever? Or, you know, I don't really do that. I just play games, you know. If it looks fun to me, great. I don't try to make it into a mathematical, you know, thing. That might be good for people that are really like budget, you know, conscious or whatever.
I mean, you don't go to the game store and just whip out your abacus and just like, well, let's see here. I'll slide this over here. All right,
Yeah.
this is worth it. I'm
Carry
going to
the
get this one.
two.
Well, that's why at the end there I was
times
like,
by 4.
yeah. Well, that's why at
But
the end.
there's some games that are 6 hours, or some games that are 4, even 2 hour games.
Right.
You know what I mean? And they're really good games, and they base how the quality of the game and the content of the game may only fit within that 4 hour bracket.
Yeah.
And I mean, to say that, you know, a game must be this amount of hours, no, because sometimes you just end up with a lot of filler that just doesn't really do anything.
Right. The less amount of hours, the lower the cost is how it's supposed to be, or whatever, you know. The more hours, the more you can justify the cost, you know. Yeah. Well, that being the case, like, I should not, like, you know, Life is Strange, for example, that's a pretty short game. I took a long time playing it because that's me. That's just me. So I already don't fit in that model of like how many dollars per hour would I spend on a video game. You know, it just doesn't. But then again, like I said, I think it is more for budget conscious people, or the people that kind of feel that games owe them something, you know, other than the entertainment value that it comes with. Like I saw that in the Division thread. I don't want to get into it. It's too depressing for me. But, you know, the whole like, I didn't get a meaningful experience out of this. And I'm like, oh, you need to find like purpose in your life. You know, a meaningful purpose.
Sir,
there was no
need
meaningful
gaming,
purpose.
Jesus.
Yeah, they said that's what it was, meaningful purpose. There was no meaningful purpose. And I'm like, well, you're playing a video game. Like the meaningful purpose behind it should be to take you out of your life. It's something to remove you from your life to play, so you're not worried about your bills or whatever it is, you know? That's the meaningful purpose for me. I don't know, that's definitely not for everybody, but it just seems a tad pretentious, if anything, to make it like, what about, well, I don't know. There's a lot of thoughts here, because you could say the same thing about movies, right? This movie was a waste of my time. There was no meaningful purpose behind it. It's garbage. And then I think a lot of people maybe would accept that better because it's a movie. Whereas a video game, maybe I'm just being an asshole and being like, with it, you know, I still kind of see the art behind it, but I'm like, it's, you know.
The other interesting thing though is that people complain that movies sometimes are too long.
True. They don't. Oh no, they don't want to see past 2 hours. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas I love Seven Samurai, which is a notoriously long movie.
The game is too grindy.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, my purpose when I play a game is to either get immersed into something really cool and different, which is similar to the Escape, but that would be like the same as like a movie, to enjoy a really good story or a really good show or whatever.
Right.
But ultimately, it's Escape, or to feel accomplished, to seek some type of intrinsic success. Like, I want to do this, which is why, I think Janzer, you do this a lot too. You'll play on, like, some people will go through, play a game on the easiest difficulty first time through because they want to feel like a badass and they want to succeed, like, ultimately, and that's the level that's good for them. And you and I are much more like, let's go ahead and get challenged. Yeah. I want to get pushed down and be like, all right, I got this, and then push back.
Well, I'm not a masochist. I want to play at the level that feels good to me, which I guess is the same.
You don't want to be shooting rocket launchers at Tea Party. You want to be shooting rocket launchers in a fucking war zone.
Yeah, a good example was I was playing Dark Souls 3, and there's a giant club or something like that I got, and I was like, well, let me test it out. And so I started swinging. I was like, oh my god! Like, this has an auto attack that continues for you. All you have to do is press this button, and it's got so much damage on it. I was like, I'm never touching that weapon again.
Yep.
And it would probably have helped me to get through a lot of very difficult, spots in the game. Instead, I picked this other kind of like, it's like an axe on a pike or something like that. It's like one of the knight's weapons. I don't even remember the name of it, but I think it drops from one of the like demon knights or whatever.
Is it like a halberd or is it like
it's like a halberd
thing?
Yeah,
okay.
No, it's like a halberd, and it's unwieldy. It's got some questionable like attack patterns, etc., and all that. And it doesn't exactly have the best base damage. It doesn't have exactly the best like.
Why are you using that? It's got a terrible move set.
Right. I was like, I think I'm in love. I was like, I think that there's not because it's not a shitty weapon. It's just you have to work with what it gives you, and you can't expect something out of it. This is what I used to say in Warframe all the time about like weapons in Warframe. It's like if you're expecting this other weapon, the Soma rifle, out of the Leto, you're going to be in for a huge disappointment. Also, what does your life look like that your expectations are like that? Just
dual daggers.
Yeah. Do you not have any personal connections? Because if you expect everybody to be Gandhi, Jesus Christ,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my thing with games though, like weapons in games, they have to appeal to me. Like the whole attack or defensive stance, or just the whole stances or whatever. So like if you go back to Warframe, like Tigris Prime or Sanctity Tigris is like the hardest hitting like shotgun weapon there, but I don't like it. I don't like the mechanics of it, so I just use like the Vacor Hat.
Yeah.
Or sometimes I might just go even lower and just use the Sobek or whatever, just for for shits and giggles.
Right.
But because I enjoy how those two weapons work, but I just don't like the mechanics of the hardest hitting weapon in the game. So I just avoid it like the plague.
And I say the Tigris. It was never the hardest hitting until it got some buff later on. I used to like that weapon when nobody, hipster right here, right? Because I'm saying it. But seriously, I really did enjoy it. And I probably have it on streams or like videos where I really enjoyed the mechanics because it was a dual shot, it was a double barrel shotgun basically. And I liked the sound of it and I liked how it functioned. And then they went and made it for the cool kids, like just buff it all to high hell. And so, of course, everybody's going to pick it up.
The thing is, though, when they first buffed it, I liked it because they had changed the mechanics where you could press the middlemost button and fire one barrel and then press it again to fire the next. And then they took that away, and I was like, fuck this weapon. I don't like how it works. Everybody was still going with it, but I was like, no, I don't want to hold on the button and then have to release it. It's like I've never played a game like that, and it doesn't feel comfortable.
Right.
So at the end of the day, I think we're just saying, you make what you make out of a game. I don't think that you can value a game based on how many hours you spend playing it. It's just a matter of what you get out of the game. Because you could play a game and it could take you 15 hours and I could finish that game in 5.
True.
But we could both still enjoy it.
But you saying that right there at the beginning makes it okay though too, and that's the part where like in myself I got to rectify that and say I just admitted that it's actually perfectly okay to value it dollar per hour. It's just not what I do, and that's okay. I have to get down to that, like you said, you make what you want out of it. So those people are making what they want out of it,
Yeah, but we might not even be looking at it in terms of time. Like I might just play through the game and just battle through the content really quickly, which I don't do. I take really long to play games.
Yeah.
And you might take might be the person that takes even longer. Huh? I haven't even gone back to Nier, to be honest. To be honest with Nier, I wasted a bunch of time just doing stuff like fishing and other stuff, which is probably why I kind of took a break, because I was just kind of just pushing it too far in terms of just doing all the other content as opposed to the main story. So I can get back to it though.
Yeah, fair enough. Totally derailing you there. So, but you know, and that what you're talking about right there, like I do that a lot. I jump from one game to another, and people that don't understand why I do that, even if I explain it, take it for like, oh, you're bored of that game now, you don't care about it. It's like, no, that's how I function as a gamer. I like playing a little bit here very intensely. It's like very narrow, very deep, right? Intense. And then I move to something else. And then I do it again. And then I do it again. So for a game, and I'll say it for like probably the 500 millionth time, for a game like Warframe to take my attention for as long as it did is something fucking special, you know? Like, it hit a lot of the right things that I wanted for my mental state for a long time. You know, so shit. Look, I played so intensely. I played the Division 300, but I have like 2,500 plus hours in Warframe or whatever, you know. And that's not like trying to say I have more hours than anybody out there at all in any way, shape, or form. That's just saying in comparison from what B3's seen me do. Like, wow, you put a lot of hours in that game. Yeah, you now look at it in retrospect with Warframe hours, and then you'll see what that game did for me, you know. So, there's no other game that comes anywhere near the hours that I put into Warframe. So, it's crazy. But, value, you know. And that's a free game.
Yeah.
But I probably put more money into that game than any other game except for, like, MMOs. So. Yeah.
Yep.
Diablo 2.
Oh,
no killing or attacking, right? No attacking. Is that what it was?
Yeah, there's a speedrunner out there that went without attacking in Diablo 2. He called it a pacifist run, and it took him like 7 hours. You know, I just thought it was a weird little headline. I was like, is that pacifism? Apparently, yes, it is. Pacifism means you're never going to attack unless things are so dire. And then in some instant, I was like, okay, well, he never attacked, but he killed them. It's not a no-kill run. It's a pacifist run, meaning you can still defend yourself, you know?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, all right, fair enough. Interesting, weird, you know? Somebody's can probably do that, but they're going to, oh, yeah, where I use the, some controller from some odd game that, who knows what. The Atari controller, yeah. Just waiting for that shit. Yeah, weird little headline coming up. But then there's actually an interesting game, a couple of games here that I've got. Dead Cells. I saw this just recently. It's a permadeath, Souls-like, Metroidvania, roguelike that's coming out. I think the test, like the beta for it is May 10th. It's by a developer called Motion Twin. Something really interesting to look into. It's a side-scroller. So kind of more like, I guess, Salt and Sanctuary. Something to look into for all of you that cannot get your rocks off without like some extremely difficult things set up. So how's permadeath for you, huh? Hard enough? So, yeah. But I kind of made fun of it today because I was like, can you throw any other terms on it? Souls like Metroidvania, roguelike. Yeah. So... interesting.
It's kind of cool though.
Yeah. Action, adventure, platforming, puzzle,
open world, survival,
something.
The permadeath thing is gonna turn
but
me
yeah,
off.
it looks like
it looks cool.
Salt and Sanctuary and whatever, like that 2D scroller, or whatever. But it has a lot of color in it.
I was gonna say, but way more colorful, right?
Very colorful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I only watched a little bit of gameplay of it, and it did not trigger anything in me that made me feel like I wanted to play it. But I just want to bring it up because anything that says it's got permadeath in it, I'm like, woo, okay, all right.
Yeah.
Some tryhards out there. Yeah.
Fuck up, start over.
I got a little info more about the trailer that we talked about before for a game that the tagline for it was "Prepare to Dine." So this is by Bandai Namco, and Phil had a little other info to fill in, so I'm expecting that here. But the game's called Code Vein. So Code Vein, V-E-I-N, like in a vein, blood vein. But it's a dungeon exploration type, hard action RPG. Players assume the role of a revenant, which is a superpowered vampire who's you've lost your memories, and you need blood in order to avoid turning into a lost. It's due out in 2018, runs on the Unreal Engine 4, and you're going to be able to have like an AI-controlled companion to take along with you. There were a lot of things in that I just said that really ticked off, like Dark Souls.
Well, you did say Prepare to Dine, which is almost the same as Prepare to Die, which is the Steam version of the first game, Prepare to Die edition.
They're not ashamed.
So I mean, like, it's pretty obvious. Yeah.
They're not trying to be. It's the same developer, but Phil was saying that it's a different team.
Yeah, I think it's a different team that they have working on it.
Yeah.
Than the usual Dark Souls guys.
Yeah. But you still are like a character that doesn't have full memory of what's going on. And you're still a character that has to, in this case, drink blood in order to avoid turning into a lost. So, yeah, I was just like, they're not getting too far away from their quote-unquote wheelhouse, right? But they are adding the AI-controlled companion. That could make the difference all in the gameplay, depending on how well that AI-controlled companion is and how much you can control that AI companion,
Yeah. And as I was saying earlier, too, that the whole Dark Souls game is becoming a genre now. Like, the same game, Surge, that's supposed to come out this next month.
Yeah.
That has a very Dark Souls type combat to it. Yep. So, like how everybody says, like, oh, it's a roguelike game. People are saying, oh, it's a Souls type game, or it has Souls like combat, so expect a lot of games to come out. And that's not even the only game. There's another one too. I can't remember.
Well, Sanctuary, the idea of a Souls like has been around for a little bit, and it's kind of, it gets to me because it's a label and it's easy, but at the same time it's useful. I know, but it still pisses me off. Like, I hate hearing Metroidvania used for like everything. I'm just like, stop. Just no. Let it be a video game. But you gotta give people some way to you can't be the true artist all the time. You have to put things out there in terms that people can understand quickly in order to hook their attention. It makes sense. It does.
Yeah.
I'm just a hipster.
But yeah. Your handlebar mustaches and stuff.
Yeah,
get out of here, hipster.
I'm gonna start curling the ends of my mustaches up and out. There we go. Right. God, if I ever do that, I'll cut my own head off. All right.
But then you won't be able to donate your hair.
Oh no, they can take it from there. It's a lot easier. They don't have to worry about it.
Actually, when you die, your hair continues to grow. So yeah.
They'll be like, great. Let's put this head on the put this one on the wall too.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Graham and I'll continue the podcast.
Awesome. Volts would love to join.
Well.
He'll take over. I'm close to the end of my stuff here, so if you guys want to jump in with anything, feel free to. But otherwise, I've got like 2 more things.
Oh, well, I got another thing too, talking about more G2A.
Oh, God.
Oh, yeah.
Let's hear it.
They're always hitting hard in the news, just coming back, they won too.
Yeah.
No, basically, apparently the rap for G2A had a little head-to-head in real life, back and forth debate at a developers conference.
Yeah.
So basically, they were saying that labeling G2A as a gray market, we sell gray market keys. That makes it seem like it has a negative label to it.
Yeah.
People don't understand it, and they started to label a description of gray market from Wikipedia or something like that. And they're trying to say, reselling of keys is perfectly legal and it brings lots of benefits to the gaming community as it introduces competition and prevents rising prices to unreasonable levels. And I'm like, really? So you're using these definitions to justify selling stolen keys? That's what you're telling me. You say honestly, I think that those guys should be in politics because they know how to twist and turn and spin things around.
A good delusion.
You know what I mean? It's like gray market. That's fake news, you know, or some shit. I was like, it's like what? No, they completely ignore the question, and then talk about how good what they are and what they do. I was like, no. Deal with the facts. I don't want to hear all this bullshit. And then on top of that, because like a lot of developers were like in the audience, and they were like, I guess it was kind of like it became a point where it's kind of like haggling and saying, no, this is that, you know, and telling them, you know, what they do. And these guys are, you know, developers that create games, and then see G2A stealing from other like indie developers, big developers, and they go on to say, well, no, you know, we developers we only take 10% of game sales, and they get 89. As I said, 10.8%, and developers get the remaining 89.2% when they sell directly through us. What they're trying to do, what they tried to do with who's that was selling Bulletstorm?
That was Gearbox, yeah.
Yeah, they say no, like do what we were trying to do with Gearbox. You know, just you get majority the money that way. But if people sell secondhand, you know, or sorry, third party sales, we actually give you developers 10% of what. So I was like, are you kidding me? You trying to justify people selling bootleg keys by giving the developers 10% of the profits when they should be getting the 90% that they, you know, normally should be getting for something like that.
That's like saying doped up sports, like, and pick any boxing. Look, yes, our boxers are doped up, but it provides a higher goal for the people that are not using steroids or whatever, so they can try to achieve, you know, to a higher level. They can.
Yeah, so basically say, you know, look, people are gonna steal your keys and sell them, but hey, look, no other outlet is actually allowing you to get 10% of the people stealing your shit. Right. So you're still getting something.
Yeah,
you're still a winner.
Yeah, and if you pay us a monthly fee to secure that. They're trying to pull insurance shit on them too.
And I looked at that monthly G2A Shield stuff, where you have, if you want to close that, you have to apply within the last 2 days of when your subscription is going to end. But they don't tell you when your subscription ends or starts.
Only the best do things like that. That's why.
And then after you do that,
friendly.
After you do that, then it's like 3 or 4 hoops that you gotta jump through after that. Then they can send you an email, and you have to respond to this email within a certain amount of time, and then you have to provide them with your credit card information some shit like that.
I forgot about that.
It's like you gotta give a bunch of like personal information to verify that is you.
Look, just tell us where you live, okay? We'll come by.
I'm like,
we'll send Tony.
Like, you know what? You don't do all that. Just go to your credit card company and say, listen, see this here? Don't accept anything from them again. Yeah. Or just give me a different credit card so I can't get billed by these people. That's your best option if you do that. But apparently they didn't used to do that before, because I know somebody bought games for them like a few years ago, and he said that when he bought it, there was no subscription. You just paid for like a one-time Shield thing if you wanted it on that game that you bought. So they're just finding more and more ways to be shady, but then justify it by saying how great they are and what they're offering the community and the game community and developers on a whole.
Of course,
we're awesome.
They're working that capitalism, and they're helping to provide much needed. And there is really no competition against Steam. I actually have a story that kind of ties into that, because it was brought up in the B3 GamingCast by Alex. I never know how to say his name, but I mean, actually had no trolls for me this time, which is amazing. He always trolls the shit on me. This time, he actually said, "Hey, what about that 10-cent Wii game? Some company called 10-cent that's bringing over their opening up to the Western market. Yeah, a app that's called Wii Game. It's similar to Steam." And Polygon had something like, "Oh, it's gonna challenge Steam." I was like, I don't know about that. I mean, Steam's already challenged and has been challenged by a lot of things for a while. I'm gonna read some of these things off. Besides G2A, which is where it is, and it's already, hey, look, they're already doing what they're doing to sell the shit out of things really cheap. That's a lot of a challenge to overcome. Steam's still around. You got Green Man Gaming, legit. You got Bundle Stars, which I just found out about and I researched, and they're legit. You got Good Old Games, of course, GOG, legit as hell. Itch.io, that's been around for so long, and there's a lot of games you can get on there and play just for free, too. If you don't know about it, you should probably check it out if you're really interested, because some developers are like, we're not going to even go through Steam. We're not going to do any of that stuff. This allows us to do it for free, upload games, and sometimes they charge, sometimes they don't. You got Humble Bundle. I mean, and then, of course, you've got this other weird one that came up like some time back called Gamers Gate. Weird fucking name, but whatever. They had some legit sales on there. And then you still have Origin and EA's Uplay. And, tell me there's no competition.
And you had Windows Live, and you got the Windows Store now.
The Windows Store.
They both suck, but still.
Yeah, of course.
A lot of competition that trying.
No, there's no. G2A is providing a valuable service, clearly.
But I think the buzz about this is that because they're in China, and apparently they have more subscribers. They have more users.
Right.
On there than Steam has currently. But I mean, because they're dealing with China, that's the biggest market in the world that you could deal with. I mean, billions of people there, as opposed to just whatever the demographic is in the West. So it's easier for them to say, well, we got bigger numbers. So are people to say, well, they got bigger numbers, so when they come over here, they can dominate. But the other question is, all right, are they going to have US servers? How is that going to affect their costs, their overheads? Their prices might end up being the same as Steam, or they might not be able to give the same amount of sales as Steam.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
My point being, there's a shitload of competition already. How are they going to? There's going to clearly have to be something that they really have to do to differentiate big time.
The other thing too is that I think that same Tencent company is either own Riot or are owned by Riot or something. Riot Games that does League of Legends. So League of Legends is going to be under that umbrella. So I think they're seeing that kind of comparison where Steam has Dota and they have League of Legends. And League of Legends actually has a bigger a bigger audience than not by a humongous amount, but if you look at it. Yeah. So they're seeing it as like, oh, this is probably like their biggest competition. Oh, another thing that we left out too is like Amazon. Amazon selling games as well too.
God, that's true. I've bought enough,
and they're selling stuff through Twitch as well. So
I've bought enough games off of Amazon for it definitely to be a contender. Absolutely, there's no question about that. And they're more ingrained in gamers' lives than gamers might think about. So very much.
I don't know. It all depends on how they approach it. This Tencent, or what's it called?
The company's called Tencent, and some people were like, they're kind of like a blah company. We don't like them, blah, And apparently the app is called We Game. So I think there might be an interesting thing with maybe we'll be able to get some Eastern, some Asian releases of games we might not normally get, but I doubt it because there's still regional locks on stuff. So who knows? That would be one interesting thing that they could offer me, which is something like you get to have a chance at a game that would not be released into the West. Yes, it's still going to be whatever language it's in, but there you go. So because
or they might try to buy out some of the rights to distribute those games to the West.
Yeah, look at all the MMOs
and help fund the translation of it, so that the developers actually create the English translation or French or whatever. So that it can be played in the Western market. So now, I can see it from that point. That'd be cool.
I don't know if they handle Korean MMOs, but that's a huge fucking market, and they honestly put out so many MMOs that if they do handle that, I think people would definitely jump on board for that. Because if you could get it access early, the steps that people go through in order to play these MMOs is ridiculous. I've done it myself. You got to make an account in whatever country it's in. You got to just figure out the language, figure out whatever it is, Thankfully with Google Translate, it's a lot easier now. And just so you can make an account over there, not know what anybody's saying, not unless you're fluent in whatever language it is, just so you can play the MMO ahead of time. It's crazy stuff. But a lot of people did it for like Blade and Soul. A lot of people did, Black Desert Online. Yeah. those are just
You know,
recent ones. We did it for
would
Lineage back in the
be-
day as well, you know? And
That'd
Final
be really
Fantasy 11.
interesting
Sorry.
if they did do something like that, because I was a big fan of Phantasy Star Universe, which was
Oh, yeah. Phantasy Star
I think
Online.
like 11 years ago. But Phantasy Star Universe 2 isn't an American thing. I think it's only PC anyway.
PSO2.
But
Yep.
I don't. Yeah, so like that would be interesting because those would be
Well,
things that normally people wouldn't have access to.
Right.
So that would definitely make people be like, oh, then maybe there is a reason to go and check this out.
Right. So all I really see right now is MMOs that they, have an option for now,
But
which
I mean,
we may not have.
It's not only just
Yeah, it's the
MMOs too,
strength of
because
those
if you look at it
regions.
too, a lot of the big games for this year are games that came from the Asian market.
Well, I don't know where
know?
Tencent is like
It's China.
from. Okay, so I don't
from
know if
China.
they have exclusivity on Japanese games either. There's not a like.
Oh no.
It's not the same country, So
Yeah, no, I don't think that they do, but I think that for them to compete, they would have to bring something that
yeah, I don't know what China
Steam
does like
can't bring.
game wise. They rip games
Yeah.
off a lot apparently. Make a shitload of like knockoff Overwatch games. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not a
And then-
knockout. That's
yeah.
that's a truth, You just look out there.
And then you gotta figure out what's the how are the relations between Chinese gaming and Japanese and Korean gaming. They make because like Japan, they don't give a fuck about anybody else.
Yeah,
Like
that's
with
true.
Nintendo or whatever, they're like, no, we deal with our market. We don't care about y'all. We
Yep.
do what we want.
Yep.
So they might not be able to lock down those things because they might say, no, we don't want that.
Yep.
So yeah, I don't know. We gotta see what they come with, but it'll be interesting to see if they could try to push them and pull that side of the world. Cause like I said, games like Near Automata.
Mhm.
What's the other big Persona 5?
Oh yeah,
A lot of those
Persona.
games
Yep,
coming
yep.
out of that. Yeah.
And there's
Japanese
other
market
titles that
are
haven't.
big titles this year.
Yeah, there's other titles too that won't come to the West. So that's why my point stands in like what I was saying. Not that you're counterpointing it in any way. I'm just I just want to reiterate that if that allows people in the West to get access to some games that we wouldn't, like region breaking in some way, but I don't know that would happen. If that's if that's something that could happen, then yes, I could see it being successful in that
Yeah,
respect.
because it'd be ease of access, like you were saying, to get access to some of those things. Huge amount of hoops.
Oh yeah,
and
you got to put like an
it's-
address for a place you don't know.
Huge barrier. Yeah, you're just like,
Yeah.
you're doing it. And you're like, I don't know if this is worth it. Fuck it, I've already started. I'm gonna finish this. Damn it.
Yep. Yeah, that's about all I got with gaming.
Yeah, I don't have anything else either. I'm pretty good.
But the only other topic I would say that I had was just a little interesting thing I saw with Mass Effect's lead designer Ian Fraser was said that he was having a hard time going through all the criticism for the game,
Yeah, that's
like going through
understandable.
Twitter and stuff. But the interesting thing though is that not that he did say that it was kind of like he didn't enjoy getting the occasional gut punch, but people lashing out at stuff in the game. But one of the big issues that they had was that he had, because he said that he's only speaking for himself. He's not speaking for anybody else on the BioWare team that worked on the game, strictly just him. He was saying that it was really hard to go through Twitter and forums to find criticism that he could actually work with.
Oh, that I understand.
And
Doesn't
I think
surprise me in
that's
the
a key
least.
thing, because especially with Mass Effect, everybody was just bitching, but nobody was actually trying to get to a specific thing and say, hey, this is a problem for me, or this is not working. They didn't give any like specific stuff.
I feel like
And-
it's pretty rare for
Yeah, but
most
What's that?
people that are
Mhm.
gamers nowadays to give initial constructive feedback. Most people are like, this is dumb, or this made me feel blah. Usually the why or the what could be done is not even an afterthought, but sometimes it is an afterthought. It's very rare that people's opinions initially are constructive, at least amongst a majority of gamers that voice their opinions online.
Yep. But what I took from that though was like two things. I was like,
Plus,
they
everybody wants to
actually
fuck
want to.
somebody, and
Yeah,
that's what
they
they care
want.
about more.
Yeah, I
What's
was saying
that?
that they want to get. You mean Graham or me?
No, you. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh no, I was saying I took two things from that. They want the feedback, and they're looking to do things.
Yeah.
So it's like my main issue is that I find always I find it happens in all games. I've seen it in Warframe and other things. People will bitch and moan about things and then just go on rants and raves and don't actually give constructive criticism that the developers of a game could actually look at and say, all right, this is something we could look at, or we could piece this, but just going to say, oh, this is shit. And I didn't like that part. Why? Because I don't like it. It didn't agree with me, and I think it was shitty.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's not. They can't pull from information from that.
This
Yeah,
ties
absolutely.
back into the two other topics we brought up: the division, like expectations, and like what does the game owe me, and the ESO complaining or whatever that's already starting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I just think that if you're gonna, and when I see that too, I also look at like the Steam reviews.
Yeah.
If you ever look at Steam reviews, it's an absolute waste of fucking time.
It
You
is.
can't judge how to buy a game from that.
Oh, yeah, that's because
people just talk
so
absolute
many
shit. You can't get any
things
information.
are
Right.
founded upon personal experience, expectations, and their opinions.
Yep.
And people go through and they're just like, I this is a shitty game because my power went out and I couldn't play the game, so it's
Yeah, we
garbage.
talked
Like
about
people
that.
would legitimately say shit like this.
No,
And you're
no,
like,
no.
That has nothing to do with the game, bro.
When,
that was your power. It was my experience though.
What's that zombie game that Count was playing? It's like in a mall. It's I just
Dead Rising?
Dead Rising 3 came out. I was reading off Windows like criticisms about the game.
I remember
like,
that.
Game didn't start. It's like what? That doesn't help anybody. You idiot.
Yeah.
That says that you got a problem with your computer.
Yep.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
yeah. Also, to add to the same like Mass Effect thing, I found it interesting when I saw this article because this week I got a lot of like crashes in the multiplayer. I wasn't playing the single player, and it got to a point where like I wasn't really getting crashes at the start, and then it just started getting like tons of crashes, and I was like, I just kind of got annoyed. I was like, Jesus Christ, I can't even play the fucking multiplayer of this game now, and I was just like annoyed. But I was like, I'm not gonna rant, but I can just like post something on Twitter. So I said, I put down, BioWare and EA. I just put them in the tweet, at them. I just said, hey guys, you know what? Game crashes a lot in multiplayer. That's something y'all should probably look at.
Yeah.
Also, dedicated servers. You don't want to go pull a full, you don't want to go full For Honor with it.
Right.
And I just, just tossed it. I was like, just a random tweet. And I was like, nobody looks at my tweets. I barely got any people that follow me. EA Help contacted me. Like I don't know. They just they just saw it as a problem. So you can see that he's not the lead designer is not actually bullshitting. Where he said that they're actually sieving through tweets and all that stuff.
It's true. I send things
They
to
actually
developers
contacted
all
me.
the time, and I'm not like being an asshole about it.
Yep. And at first I thought they were being a bit dickish in their responses. I was like, these responses, they're like, oh, well, just go try starting up a single player game and see if that helps. Just do a start the game and do a save. I was like, I can't avoid any single player until y'all fix. And he was like, well, some people say that it's actually worked. I was like,
they're starting at ground level.
Okay, all right. Yes, I was like, all right, cool, I'll do it. So I did it. I got a lot less crashes, but I was getting a lot less crashes when I first started, and then I started to get 1 or 2 crashes. So then they were actually like, oh well, try out. I was like, well, if you do try it out, let us know what happens. And I messaged them back and said, yeah, still crashing. And they were like, okay, so what happened when it crashed? I'm like, all right. I mean, it's like they're actually gathering information.
Yep.
So they're trying to figure out from different people. So I took the opportunity to say, look, hey, I find that when I have a laggy host, it's doesn't have dedicated servers. But I said, when I have a laggy host, eventually the game will crash.
Yeah.
And I was like, and I give them specific. It crashed directly to desktop. No error message, nothing. It's like the game wasn't even on.
Right.
And they were like, and it's like, all right, thanks. So I mean, obviously, this to a certain point they can't help me until they figure out certain things, but they're gathering information, so you can see that they're trying to work on it.
Yeah, Doom. I remember Doom doing the same thing. There were a lot of the problems that I even had problem with. A game would just crash to desktop, so they put a patch out soon after that, just allowing them to record anonymously without having the gamer do anything, because that's always it seems like the simplest thing. It's like, fix this thing. What's wrong with it? Like what Graham was saying is, it sucks.
The game is dumb and it's stupid and broken.
We're going to put a patch out, and we're just going to get the shit from you because effort is hard. We understand. It's like, I feel bad, but I say that. It's like, it's anything. If you try to get, like, I put out a tweet today saying, like, sometimes I see stuff, and a lot of the times when I'm critical about stuff, it's me criticizing myself in my head. And so I'll tweet about it because I'm like, you're a bitch. And now I'm going to tell everybody that you are a bitch. I'm talking to myself, Like I said something about, like, if you expect support, you probably should be giving it. Now, I actually do give a lot of support. I'm not trying to say that I don't. But it's just more of a reinforcement at that point, too, because sometimes I feel let down that there's things that I do with B3 or the podcast or whatever it is, streaming, whatever, and I feel let down. But then I'm like, what am I doing? Am I really doing what I can do? I feel like I can, like I'm doing a lot, but just to reinforce, hey, look, don't stop believing, all right? Sometimes people are doing stuff,
your
but
voice,
your
voice in your head whispering to you, "Hey, buddy, don't stop believing." Man. It's okay.
Just because you may not be getting the results you think you should be, you got to look at the positives too of, like, the results that you are positively getting. Like, I wanted a really chill stream the other day when I was playing Dark Souls 3 without any, like, prodding, and people gave it to me. They didn't have to, but I was happy with that.
I just find it hilarious that your inner voice talks to you like if you're a 6-year-old. Hey, buddy.
Oh, no, it doesn't. No. You know how it talks to me?
No, but just the way you worded it just made me think that.
Cunt and kicks me and all that. Yeah, no, I'm notoriously
basically sounds like Louis C.K.
Yeah, but it was just the way that you worded it just now where you said, "Hey, buddy."
Yeah. No, that's how you... Yeah, if my inner voice ever talked to me like that, it's probably, like, doing that so it could draw me closer to slap me on the face.
Or, I will say, though, if it's treating you like a little child and it walks and he says, "Hey, buddy," it might be a little creepy. You're like, oh, little pedophilia type in the voice there.
No, not at all.
Trying to deal with your inner child.
No, I'm not interested in molesting my inner child. Although that has
your inner Tenno
before. Yeah. Probably with a lot of drinks or something, it's something about, like, oh, so you trying to molest your inner child? I'm sure I told that to somebody. I don't know. Anyways, hey, drinking, that's what it is. It's dumb. You get dumber as you drink. But yeah, that's all I got, guys. That's all I got.
Yeah, that's me too there, man.
Yeah, we're pretty good. It's 2.5 hours. Pretty decent.
Yeah, I got 2:19 on the clock, but we probably started later than what, So the actual stream's 2:19. I know we faffed around a little bit in the beginning. But yeah, I'll cut all that and good whatever, blah, blah. Next podcast is going to be episode 53. So if you can, people that are listening, come to the Twitch channel. I want to do a giveaway. I got $20 on Steam, so I can buy at least a $20 game or maybe two $10 games. I don't know. And there's some damn good games out there. Fucking Bayonetta, #1. That's $20. Could be Bayonetta. Could be a lot of things, There's a lot of things out there. And I would like if it's not just like the people that are normally hanging around. So it's like, oh, you just gave it to your friend. Well, they were here. They were here. You weren't here. But yeah, I'm trying to move the podcast. Hopefully, if this works out for everybody, Graham is the one that I'm more concerned with because he's got to work and he's coming right off of work to do this stupid podcast that he gives a shit enough about, and I appreciate it so much. So, yeah, I want to move to Friday, 7 Eastern, 6 p.m. Central, if possible. It's a good time. If it works out for Phil, too, perfect. So far, I think we're okay. And I think this works out in general for a lot of people, I hope. People are like, great, I can be there. So, I tweeted a bit throughout the week. Sorry for the spam.
Yeah, do that for us, Be like, hey, this Friday, blah, blah, blah. Doing a giveaway. Come hang out.
Oh, yeah, it really helped.
game.
You know, I got to do something to where, like, maybe... Yeah, I hate doing these things because they seem to work. It's like, if you retweet, blah, 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 then now below, blah, a hand job. What? I don't know. But, you know.
If you retweet this, Eddie Emma will talk about how you've been retweeting it for something.
It's true. Eddie's actually one of the biggest retweet supporters I have. Wobotron as well. Those guys,
I just met Eddie
Watusi
Emma
as well.
would talk about how the retweeting to retweet things.
Oh, that thing?
But
Well,
that's true, though, because he also ironically retweets a lot of stuff. He's really
this is reverse
on top of his
entitlement.
game on the Twitter.
This retweet is for reverse entitlement. That's about, like, getting shit for free. This is about getting shit for free, but I'm going to be giving it away. So, yeah, don't retweet. Wait, that is the same thing, right? They're retweeting because they want something for free?
Kind of, yeah.
Fuck! I don't know how to get away from that.
Either way, Eddie will show up and say something about it, and it'll be good because more people will see it. So just retweet it anyway.
Yeah. It's not work to retweet, so don't look at it. Wait, it's not the right message.
Do it because you'll make us proud, and we'll be proud of you. And
there you go. See,
feel
that's
good.
why I brought Graham on, because he's got a nicer voice about these things. I'm like, come on, you fucking cunts. Get your shit together and fucking retweet for... Oh, I'm sorry. I'm stopping.
Yeah.
This is you're holding a door open for an old lady.
I'm stopping.
Let us be your old lady.
Let us be the old lady?
Yeah.
All right. Well, you know, fair enough. Do I got to wear, like, those things on, like blue wig now? And I'm going to stop this podcast.
If you start talking about this shit, people are going to start
stopping the podcast. I'm not going to wear a blue wig next time. But 1 year of podcasting, that's something, man. All right?
Sexiversary.
I'm not promising that. But definitely going to give a game away. Okay. I'm out of here. Guys,
Have a good one, everybody.
Where can people find y'all if they want to find y'all?
Phil first.
Oh.
Phil
You can
first.
find me on... Yeah, I don't like sloppy seconds. You can find me... You can find me on YouTube, Philemon Grundy. Yeah, that's pretty much where you can find me. You can look for me on Twitter if you want. I don't have much followers there, so yeah, be sure to stalk me and follow me there.
Yeah, he's got lots of stuff that's constructive, like you said, and he looks for people's opinions. So if you want to be active and shit, you should check him out too.
Yeah, don't be an asshole. Don't just tell me that I'm stupid. Like some
Wow,
people who
you're
comment
asking for it,
on my
dude.
videos. Because I will respond if you tell me I'm stupid and make you look stupid.
That's why I like
Interesting.
Phil,
Yeah.
because he's vindictive the way I am.
Constructively vindictive.
I'm going to take your stupid comment and I'm going to pin it to the top so everyone can see how dumb you are day after day.
He's just promoting improvement through reflection, except it's other people reflecting on how dumb you are and you feel bad, so you want the change.
Really? I call it promoting improvement through beatings.
Being
I'm going to flog you in front of everyone.
Really strong feedback.
You see a reflection in your own blood. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sorry.
Also feedback.
This is how I love, okay?
You can find me pretty much just on Twitch, Grammaton_Dryad. I stream every once in a while, a couple times a week. I have a Twitter that's also Grammaton Dryad. So,
yeah. Awesome. Last but not least, hopefully, if you want to support the podcast in some kind of way that's more than just saying, yeah, there is a Patreon under Janzer, just the word Janzer, the name Janzer. That'll help out. It's got a lot of information on how you can support or why you would even bother. I'd appreciate it if you just look it up, and yeah, you can call me an asshole after that. But we're done. We're done. Thanks, guys, for the podcast. I appreciate it. And
Thanks for having me as always.
no problem.
Thanks everyone out there downloading, and we'll see you next time.